boost, because the one thing they'll have to do tonight, Rob, is hold the ball up front. You know, there's no point, you know, having a bit of possession. You can't hold the ball up and Braga continually coming at you. You need that outlet, and Mark de Vries, both in the way he plays and in his stature, will give them that, hopefully, and able to take a bit of pressure off the midfield and off the back four, and allow Hearts to get into the game from an attacking point of view, and not just allowing Braga to come onto them. And
interesting to see that Neil McFarlane plays as well. He's a good passer of the ball. He will help them presumably keep possession in that midfield area, keep things pretty tight. Yeah, he's a big, tall player, hasn't played as often as he'd like, but as you say, can pass the ball, can spot a pass, can get his foot in as well, so he'll be in the midfield five in there, with Hartley hopefully getting forward and supporting de Vries. So hopefully we're not going to see Hearts just sitting back and absorbing the pressure. They will have to do it for patches, but let's hope that they can add their own style to this game and cause Braga a problem at the other end.
Well, Craig Levein hopes the mission can be accomplished this time. A big European chance was lost last season when Hearts beat Bordeaux in France, then couldn't quite handle the second leg at Tynecastle. Can they get it right this time after that 3-1 defeat of Braga at Murrayfield? Scott Booth's been getting the pre-match thoughts of head coach Levein.
Well, we're excited by it, definitely. We're going to Portugal with a 3-1 lead from the first leg, which I do believe gives us a decent chance of going through. But there's also a little bit of wariness that going into the game, the second leg with a lead. We don't want to disappoint people and not get through. We've worked very hard to try and identify some weaknesses in the Braga team. That's 4 videos we've got now of them playing. I've watched them play, Hoostie's watched them play, John McGlynn's watched them play. And you know, I do believe that they have weaknesses, there's no doubt about that. And I do think that we have a game plan how we hope to take advantage of certain weaknesses in their defence, and if we can score a goal, I think I've got enough confidence in the team as a whole defensively to think that we'd be pretty safe. I don't think we'll lose 3 goals.
So is that going to be the aim for you, to try and sneak an away goal, or are you going to say, well, let's consolidate and we have a good defence, we've got a good defensive record and we can hold this team?
A bit of both, to be honest. We don't want to be kamikaze and throw players forward, but you know, we've got, as I say, we've got a game plan about certain areas of the park, of what type of passes we want to make, what type of areas that we want to hit. We'll need to be good, you know, we'll need to have that little bit of quality when we get into the last third of the park to enable us to score a goal. And if we do get an opportunity, or 2 or 3 opportunities, then we'll have to score. I mean, I don't think in European football you can afford to miss chances.
Out there, as far as the approach to the game, have you looked at is it a 4-5-1 system that you're looking at, or is it something a little bit more adventurous?
We've looked at a number of things. You know, a lot of it dictated by the personnel available. But you know, we will play a back 4, I'm sure of that. Whether we play 4-4-2 or 4-5-1, that's something that I've yet to make my mind up on.
Is it slightly easier this time, because this time you know that they're going to be, you know, going out for goals and all-out attack? Is that going to make it a little bit easier for you?
Well, I think I know how they're going to play, and I'm pretty sure Loureiro got injured on Sunday night, so he won't play, and I think Kennedy will come in and take his place. And other than that, I've got a fair idea what team they'll play. And we know the strengths, as I say, we've 4 videotapes of them, and we've watched them 3 times. So we know their strengths, we know certainly some of their weaknesses. Can we stop them playing? And that's the question. And if we can, then we can go through. What does give me confidence, we played twice away from home last year in the same competition. We drew 0-0 in Bosnia against Jesnica, and we beat Bordeaux in France. So in both games we kept a clean sheet. So you know, I'm hopeful that the same players, or just about the same players, can manage to put up a defensive block that stops Braga scoring. I'm immensely proud of what the players have achieved in the last couple of years, and this will be, you know, this is our biggest mountain to climb. You know, to get through against Braga would be a very significant achievement for us.
And it could be a momentous day all round for Hearts this last day of September. Hearts Chief Executive Chris Robinson today agreed to sell his stake of nearly 20% in the club to Lithuanian businessman Vladimir Romanov. Robinson entering into a conditional agreement to sell for approaching £900,000. The current Hearts board have agreed a deal to sell Tynecastle to property developers Kala. Now the hope is that the newly shaped board might renegotiate with Cala to keep the club at Tynecastle until a new stadium can be built, and that might mean that the option to move to Murrayfield, Craig, is not necessary.
Yeah, I don't buy into that option really. I don't think it's a very good one for Hearts, although they did win against Braga 3-1 there. But anything positive for the club at the moment in terms of the finances will be fantastic. If this buys them a bit of time with the developers for them to move in, to get some revenue to the club, to then build a new stadium somewhere and start again, and I think it's very positive, because at the moment they're not really going anywhere, Hearts. They're not building a stadium, they're not moving to Murrayfield, and they're losing money. It's going out of fashion.
This story has been dragging on seemingly forever. It strikes me as an incredible achievement for Craig Levein and his team that they've kept going and going and improving all the time with this confusing situation as an almost permanent backdrop.
Yeah, I think he's done terrifically well. I mean, finished third last season. Just looking at the squad, actually, they've got a fairly good squad of players, it has to be said. No doubt they've got some injuries in key positions, like up front. De Vries is back tonight. But I think he's got a very good squad of players there. He's not had any money to bring players in, obviously, because of the situation, but what he's done, he's got the players that are there working for him, and they've performed over the piece for Craig Levein in his time as manager very well. It's
a good point, that one, about the squad, because in the build-up to this match, it's all been about the striker shortage and who was going to play up front. And suddenly Mark De Vries is in the starting lineup, and on the bench, Pereira and McKenna, among others. So there are actually there is striking backup.
Yeah, and Wyness is on the bench, and Michael Stewart, who's a midfielder who can get forward. So, and I'm looking at the Hearts side, you know, and they've got a good side, Hearts, tonight. So, you know, I'll be expecting them to go through this game, or I'll be expecting to put up a performance, because to me they don't look weakened at all. We just have to see how De Vries is in terms of his fitness. It's vitally important that when the ball is played up to him that he holds it up, but obviously his own fitness is going to be a concern to Craig Levein.
Let's look at Hearts' record in this Uefa Cup competition over the years. Of course, that takes in Fairs Cup days as well. 42 games played, and well, Hearts have won nearly half of those. That's the overall record. When we look at how Hearts have done on the road, well, of the 20 matches, they've won 6 and they've drawn 4. And one of those 6 victories, of course, was that match in Bordeaux. I was there last season. It was a remarkable achievement, that one.
It was a tremendous achievement. I think the trend for all Scottish clubs has been very poor away from home, but Hearts have got a chance tonight to put that right. But the performance in Bordeaux was terrific. The performance at Tynecastle wasn't so good. They won 1-0 in Bordeaux. They were then the home side with a 1-0 lead, something that they're not used to in the big European competition. And I think they were caught between a rock and a hard place, Rob, and were unable to think, well, do we need to go forward or do we need to defend? And in the end, did neither. We're beaten 2-0 by a better side, and disappointing after the way they went to Bordeaux, who were a top side in France at the time, and lost.
But the hope, of course, is that you learn something on these occasions, don't you? I mean, Craig Levein mentioned the game against Jeljesnikar in Bosnia last season as well, which was, again, a terrific away performance in difficult conditions, a hostile environment. Then the victory in Bordeaux. And despite losing at Tynecastle, the 2-0 game, the second leg, he'll hope that the players have taken a lot on board, and he, I'm sure, has himself from that.
I think you've got to. I mean, you've got to take it on board. You've got to learn. If you don't, then you'll continue to lose games, especially on the big scene against the likes of your Bragas, your Bordeaux. Because let's be honest, Braga are not a bad side, as you said. Drew with Porto, drew with Benfica as well. So this is a good side. So hopefully they've experienced it. They've got better since then, and they're going to go on and improve in their performance, and hopefully we'll see a very much improved Hearts performance tonight.
OK, well, the moment is nearly here. A 6:30 kick-off our time. There's Stephen Presley and Hearts, our commentary team. Former Hearts player Fraser Wishart, alongside commentator Jock Brad.
Thank you, Rob. Yes, welcome to the big match here. Braga preparing there for the photographs. They're the home side, and they have made 1 or 2 changes in their starting lineup. But Craig Gordon will be a key man without question for Hearts in goal. It's a big occasion for the young 21-year-old. And the Braga team has made change in defence. Jesualdo Ferreira, the coach, in midfield and up front for the team which played at Murrayfield. The Brazilian Nem replaces Nunes at centre-back. Jaime comes into midfield for the injured Loureiro, and Thomas is preferred to the Moroccan Baha in attack. There are 5 Brazilians in all in the starting 11. And the confirmation for Hearts. So the great news for the Hearts fans, Mark De Vries has been passed fit to play. The diligent defensive attributes of Neil McFarlane are preferred to the more creative talents of Joe Hamill in the midfield 5. Kevin McKenna, who was expected to start up front, is on the bench, and Stephen Presley will have a very important role at the back, the captain. So Paul Hartley, the goal scorer at the weekend, also in the heart of that midfield. It looks as though, Fraser, we're going to have a 4-5-1 on both sides.
Yeah, I think both teams are going to line up in a similar fashion. Hearts perhaps playing in a more defensive manner, more defensive 4-5-1. But Braga, obviously being the home side, will look to throw men forward. They're playing similar to many of the Portuguese sides play. They play with a 4-5-1 and they try and get guys forward from the midfield with a studied passing build-up. They play with a lot of patience and they try to draw defenders out of position, keeping possession, but then trying to attack the gaps that Hearts leaves. So the Hearts midfield and defence have got a big role to play tonight.
Referee Anton Stredak from Slovakia, and he too will have a very important role, because you can be sure that Hearts will go under pressure early in the match and their defensive abilities will be tested to the full. Hearts in their change strip. This is the normal Braga home side, home strip, the Arsenal look-alike, but for Hearts that's that white and light blue strip. Neil McFarlane's brought back into the side to use his dogged skills in the middle of the field as the Slovakian referee prepares for the big kick-off in Braga, the Municipal Stadium in Braga, and we're underway with Hearts trying very hard to establish themselves early in the match. How important is that, Fraser, that Hearts get off to a solid start?
Well, I think in most games away from home in Europe, Jock, you really are looking to kill the opposition's fans, and so the first 20 minutes are very important. We talk about Bottle a lot in Scotland, and I think Bottle is not only getting around people and chasing and showing a lot of effort, but it's the Bottle to keep the ball, and that's going to be absolutely vital for Hearts tonight. Braga Vs up front on his own, he's got a tough role, but we have to get midfield from support up to him, and they also have to keep possession to try and kill the game and take the sting out of Braga's attacking force.
Bandinho there penalised for a challenge on Kisnorbo. This is a chance for Hearts early in the match to put pressure on this Braga defence. With De Vries there and Kisnorbo very good in the air also. There's a threat here from Hearts, all right, as Hartley flights it in, and it's just too long. And that's a wasted opportunity for Hearts. They won't have so many, I suspect, as the game unfolds. Paul Hartley was the delivering player there. There's Paulo Santos, the goalkeeper, experienced figure in that Braga goal. Try to come forward here with good tackling instantly. Hearts at the back with McFarlane giving the ball away. Very slight play. This could be costly. Breaking on the outside there. That was a great chance for Luis coming in from the left-hand side. What frustration there for Braga, and a relief without doubt for Hearts. That was careless play in midfield.
Yeah, careless play, Jock, by Phil Stamp. They really have to keep the ball there. They spoke with Bottle early on, and the early part of the game is so important. They don't want to give Braga a boost, even if it's not a goal. Just a shot on goal and a chance like this really could have given Braga a boost, but Hearts, fortunately, the player slipping there, and good covering by Robbie Nielsen.
So Maybury now with the throw for Hearts. Braga then trying to develop something from the back. They like to play a short passing game, not so direct as British teams normally. So Luis plays it forward. Bit of a wrestling match there, and Nielsen is penalised. But his attention's on the Brazilian vendor. No argument there, I suspect. Nielsen doing that spot of wrestling, but Hearts have it back. Possession really so important to retain. Bandinho playing it wide. On the far side, Abel. Calm defending at the back between Presley and Webster. They'll have very important roles this evening. Down goes De Vries, caught from the back. The last thing that Hearts will want to see is De Vries taking one or two heavy knocks like this. A calculated little trip from the back, giving the free kick to Hearts. Another chance here. Good pressure on. It's a away goal, of course. Absolutely vital if Hearts could snatch one. Nielsen lofts it in, and good handling there by Santos in goal. De Vries clearly the target, but no opportunity there to do any damage. Abel again starting the move from the back for Braga. Change of pace there to try to get away from the challenge made by McAllister. Abel again. Back here with Jorge and across to Nem. Brazilian, and Luis on the near side. Could quite keep it in, Bender, and that's relief for Hearts, and damage has been inflicted on Thomas. Took a heavy challenge there as he came across to link up from midfield. Well, no blame attached to Nielsen for that. Not a defender who takes too many prisoners, mind you, in Robbie Nielsen. De Vries with the header inside, looking for Stamp. Stamp putting pressure on, and it's thumped long by Nem. Well, I don't think Hearts want to keep the ball in the air too long. No, and I'm sure de Braga, they prefer to play that short passing game in the build-up. And Nielsen with the header away. This is Venda. Very good natural left side. Jaime plays it wide. Good support play on the far side there, and a very heavy challenge on Abel. The free kick is given, and the referee content to have a word of warning with Jamie McAllister rather than anything more sinister. The kind of challenge you just can't get away with, can you?
Yeah, I think showing your studs, as soon as you show your studs in Europe at all, and it was high as well by Jamie McAllister, and Hearts really can't afford to give away too many free kicks in this area, because the Portuguese will be throwing their big men forward here.
Well, normally the free kick man would be the Brazilian Venda, but obviously they don't see this as a shooting opportunity. Drilled in low, an awkward one for Gordon. He did well to get down very sharply at the near post.
I think he's played for this one. I think he's tried the clever one. All the big men have lined up at the back post, and I think he's tried to curl it the other side of the wall there.
Mark de Vries back helping in defence, because Norbo was the man who won it though. It's across here to the near side to Luis. Bit of space there in the middle, and a fine effort there. Gordon turns the ball over. It was Kennedy who had the shot at goal. Well, frustration there for the Braga player, but he found all the space here.
Danger there for Hearts. They were a bit disorganised there, and if you see it's Andy Webster who comes across late, he's got to close down the striker better, but Kennedy's come from a deeper area, so the midfield players perhaps have to do their job as well in matching these runs, but a couple of half chances for Braga, and Hearts need to close these guys down a bit quicker.
So it's a 4-5-1 without question for Hearts, but for Braga it's a 4-5-1 pushing into a 4-3-3. They're pushing the wide men forward to support Thomas through the middle. So they really do want to get players forward. Here's good build-up play again. Luis takes possession. The fullback's very willing to come forward, especially with the kind of security provided by the numbers in midfield. De Vries all on his own. Has done well to win the free kick. Hearts would settle for that, I'm sure. Gesualdo Ferreira, the Braga coach, looks on pensively. Very strange setting this. It's been chiselled out of the rocks, this stadium. Perhaps not too intimidating either, I think, for away teams, Fraser.
No, it's a fairly, it's got quite a big capacity. I think it held 30,000 during the Euro 2004, but I don't think it'll be anywhere near full. And there seems to be a fair contingent of Hearts fans around, so hopefully they'll be getting behind their team and giving Hearts a right good cheer.
Oh, Sergio breaking, blonde figure on the far side. Careless header that was by Kees Norbo. It's good play by McAllister. Once again, it's De Vries. You just wonder how fit he is to cope with this very tough task this evening. Space now for Nielsen. Very quick defending. And the decision has gone Hearts' way. Nielsen's taking a knock. Kennedy is yellow carded for that. Trying to explain himself away, but the decision's been given. But the more important one is the fact that there's going to be a free kick for Hearts, a dangerous position. If Nielsen can recover.
Good play by young Nielsen here. He's driven forward into the gap. The ball's been switched from left into the centre. Good pass out by Paul Hartley, and it's important that they do make the most of these opportunities when they get into good areas. It's a good area for a free kick. the height they've got with De Vries, they've got Presley, they've got Webster going forward, and if Hearts can get good delivery in here, I think they can cause problems. And these set pieces in this kind of situation will be key to them grabbing an away goal.
Santos prepares on his goal line. A high line taken by the Braga defence. Wasted ball by McAllister. So Hearts have to start again. Good interception made at the back, and another opportunity here for Hearts to come forward. Almo, the referee, has spotted the linesman's flag at the near side. Decision being given by the linesman here. Vandinho looking for the pace of Paulo Sergio coming in from the right-hand side.
Just a yard offside here. That's a good run across and through by Phil Stamp. If he just held his run slightly, he perhaps might have got through to that pass, and that's what Hearts have got to look for. De Vries up on his own, they really look for midfield runners.
Here's just such a man, Phil Stamp. Decent effort, but shouldn't really trouble a goalkeeper of this quality. Remember Braga's record recently? Not bad at all. A draw at the weekend with Benfica, a draw with Porto 2 weeks ago. So we're talking about a team of real substance. The Hearts have settled to the task well. No free kick given there. Two Hearts men looking for the ball very strongly. It's back with Presley. The energy required, though, to be available for passes, Presley, is considerable.
Especially when they spend a lot of time closing people down. You know, it's easy to see that the Portuguese team are going to pass the ball around. The Hearts are working very, very hard in midfield, closing them down quickly. But sometimes when you get the ball, the legs have just gone, or the players are out of breath, and that's when they have to really concentrate, really try and keep the ball, because that's very important to give the back four and the two defensive midfield players a rest.
Nem across to Paulo Jorge, the captain. On the far side is Abel. Very attack-minded fullback. Claiming he was held there by McAllister, and he has been given the free kick. And the yellow card for McAllister. Well, these yellow cards are significant. No argument there, I think, from McAllister.
I think especially his descent afterwards as well doesn't help him. He's just given away a free kick in the edge of the box as well, so I think the referee's probably had enough, and that's him under pressure now for the rest of the game, Jamie, in a role where he's going to do a lot of tackling.
Ball flighted in and won well by Webster. Solid clearance. Vandinho's pass is a good one in towards Abel on the overlap. Good work done by McAllister on the recovery. Well, concentration, diligence required right throughout the Hearts ranks here to survive. Well, that's awkward. It's turned in by Thomas. Robbie Nielsen caught out badly there. Thomas gives Braga the lead. It's a nightmare for Hearts.
It's a disastrous start for them, really. It's a nothing ball into the box, and you're looking for your two centre-backs to come and deal with it. But I think it's Andy Webster goes to attack it. It comes off the top of his head and balloons right over to the back post. Thomas coming in at the back, finished well, but Robbie Nielsen should have been closer. Ball comes in here. Webster and Presley both going for it, and this leaves the man free at the back post. It's a tremendous finish, to be fair to Thomas, but it's a disastrous start for Hearts, just as they were looking as if they were settling into the game.
Oh, Robbie Nielsen will not be happy when he sees that again. He really had to throw his body in the way of that. He had to make certain there could be no meaningful contact. It's the worst possible start, this.
When you see it coming in, though, Stephen Presley comes forward to attack the ball, and that draws Nielsen in onto Stephen Presley's man as well, which leaves Thomas free at the back post. It's a terrific finish from an acute angle, to be fair to Thomas.
Well, Hearts will have to dig deep now to draw all their reserves of resilience and determination and settle here. It's going to be a big 10 minutes, I think, from Braga. The crowd has reacted very favourably for them too. And you're right, Fraser, there was a point in the game where Hearts seemed to have settled.
Yeah, they were doing okay. They'd thrown one or two players forward from midfield. Robbie Nielsen got forward on the right-hand side, and he didn't really feel as if anything was going to come from that, but it just shows you a ball into the box. Stephen Presley's attacked it along with Andy Webster. Neither of them has got good contact on the ball, and it's left the man exposed at the back post, and Thomas has tucked it away from an acute angle. Terrible start.
Headed away by Jorge. There's McAllister. The growing feeling, of course, that an away goal is even more crucial for Hearts. Remember, one more for Braga would be enough to win the tie. on the basis of the goal scored by Paulo Sergio at Murrayfield. Tense, difficult times for Hearts. This is Nem. All the patience in the world now, the Portuguese side. Just the start they wanted. Kisnorbo. Nowhere to go there. Running into trouble. Possession now for Braga, and it looks as though every player on their team wants the ball. They're all showing for every opening. Here's Luis, fullback. Then supporting well by Luis. Good turn of pace. The angle ball in there towards Paulo Sergio. Well, he wasn't holding back there, going in at Craig Gordon.
I think there's a problem here on the left-hand side. Jorge Luis is getting lots and lots of space to come forward, and perhaps it's Phil Stamp who's got to come out onto this right-hand side and help out Robbie Nielsen. Jamie McAllister's doing a good job on the left to help out Maybury, but Braga are throwing men forward from the back and from midfield. They've got a patient build-up, but that's a few times now that Luis is linked with Wenger, and they're really leaving young Robbie Nielsen exposed. And I think for 10 minutes or so, Phil Stamp should come out here, playing the wide on the right-hand side, and stop Luis getting forward, and that would really stop his runs. That was a good run forward by the fullback.
Craig Levine is wanting players to go forward and support this attack. And the referee has given a foul throw against Hearts. Just encroaching a little bit up that touchline. Well, that's very fussy refereeing by Anton Stredak. Certainly not what Hearts needed at that point. Here's the captain, Paulo Jorge. Now Kennedy. Abel, rather. It's Abel in possession. Amazing the hunger among these Braga players now. They have this precious lead. They can sense the prospect. Qualification. Important time for the experienced Hearts players to organise and settle, dig in hard. That was too hard though, that challenge. Neil McFarlane penalised. Bender was the victim. Luis again. Presley tidying up at the back. The priest comes short, and it's McFarlane again. Now Stamp. Good movement over the head by Hartley. Excellent covering play there by Jorge. Well, Hearts would like to see Hartley in possession as much as possible. He's the one who gives them that little bit of creative spark from midfield. So a long throw prospect here for Nielsen with De Vries and Kisnorbo as targets. Look at the marking there on De Vries. It was very solid indeed, and the decision goes against De Vries for a bit of pushing there. It looked like a corner kick, but he's penalised there for that lean in, the push on Kennedy.
Well, the referee's not given Hearts much so far at all. That's a couple of times now he's been very, very fussy. There was contact there, but I mean, I don't think there was enough to give a free kick, and that would have been a good situation, Hearts, to get a corner and throw the big men forward and get the dead ball into the danger area.
Vanino across to Nem. Options appearing all over the place among the Braga players. It's a major test now for Hearts. They have to settle. To keep the ball when they have it as long as they can. This is McFarlane. That's a careless one. Here's Sergio with a chance. Still Sergio again. Well, that kind of slack play from Hearts really could cost them dearly.
Yeah, you're right. They must keep the ball. They must pass it around. And Neil McFarlane, I think he was trying to play it back to the goalkeeper. And he had a bit more time than he thought. And to give a man like Paulo Sergio not one but two chances is slack play. And to be honest, I think they got away with it a bit there. Hearts. Paulo Sergio should certainly have hit the target from that area.
That's De Vries using his strength in possession. Now Nielsen. Stamp. Well, Nielsen been taken out there by Bender. It's up in disbelief, Robbie Nielsen. Just clearly body checked. As soon as he played the pass, he was taken out by Venda. looking over Hartley in the box. It goes back to Nielsen, the deflection. Paulo Santos looks on there. He knows he was lucky to survive that.
Good play by young Nielsen, though. Once again, he's shown his willingness to get himself forward. He's a good athlete. Good ball in here by Phil Stamp, and it comes down. Watch Nielsen's run in here, and as he strikes it, just takes a deflection. It just takes it outside the post, and that could easily have gone in to the back post there.
Another important opportunity for Hearts from a set piece. Webster and Presley have joined the attack. Too high for De Vries. Another wasted opportunity from the set piece.
There's a few set pieces so far that Hearts have wasted. They really are key for them with the height and the strength they have in there. And when you're away from home, sometimes it's the best opportunity you have to score a goal. But that's 3 or 4 now set pieces that haven't even got into danger. There are 2 going over the top, and 1 from Jimmy McAllister hit the first man.
Here's Jaime. On the far side there is Abel. Awkward one that bounced just in front of Webster. Another slight bit of play though in possession for Hearts. Can't afford that at this level. Well, Hearts now finding it very tough going indeed. Braga playing with their tails up. Boost provided by that early goal scored by Thomas. Strong play by Stamp. Support outside from McAllister. Stamp wants it back. There's too much pace in the pass. Frustration again for Hearts. Well, the Braga system can either be quite defensive or extremely offensive as it is right now. That means 3 up supported by charging fullbacks. They're really going for the kill now, so Hearts have to take every opportunity they can coming forward. Here's Luis. Good interpassing there. Jaime struggling there against Nielsen. There's no free kick given despite the protests of the Braga players, and no free kick given there either. Here's Paulo Sergio. Well, he has really an eye for goal, Paulo Sergio. Very keen to get on the ball around the box. Better play from Hearts. Good passing. Hartley now has some space for about the first time in the match. Kisnorbo using Maybury. This is McAllister. Kisnorbo again. The offside flag is up on the near side. Better passing there. Maybury was the player caught out.
Just offside here. Well, it was a bit better by Hearts, but Braga are just playing a patient game. They're knocking the ball about, they're waiting for the opportunity, but they're also working very, very hard to close down Hearts, and you can see that there. After 4 or 5 passes, they were closing them down the midfield, forcing that long ball by Andy Webster, but maybe just a yard offside.
But their attention been given specifically to Paul Hartley in that midfield. It looks as though Jaime's been told whenever Hearts have the ball, sit all over Hartley. Clearly showing substantial respect to the Hearts man. Here's Jaime though in attacking position. Looking for Abel. Gets the break of the ball. And he ends a corner. Good player Abel. 25-year-old fullback.
They're throwing both fullbacks forward. Jorge Luis on the left-hand side as well. They're really playing a very, very offensive game. And when the fullbacks go forward, it pushes the midfield players forward into an attacking area as well, trying to get the second goal.
It's Mark De Vries back defending, and Phil Stamp can launch that out of the danger area. Much better play there. McAllister finds Nielsen on the near side. Doing well, hitting it away, but it's collected by Kisnorbo. Appeared to be fouled there by Jaime, and the referee's given it. Careless one, and unnecessary I would suggest from Jaime, but Hearts will be happy with that.
Another opportunity again from a dead ball. They really need to get better quality in here. They've got the big men to go forward. The last couple have gone over the top of the last man, so better quality required for this one.
Maybury's ball in. That again, overshooting De Vries. Well, they're going to err. They want to err short, don't they? So the ball's still in the game.
Especially when you've only got 2 or 3 men in the penalty box, only Stamp and De Vries in there, so it's got to be almost hung up rather than driven like that. That ball was. If you hang it up for it.
Barham turning well against Kennedy. Presley playing it Longley again for De Vries. Marker was Jorge. Anticipate the whistle going there. It was going to be a free kick given. Maybury against Paulo Sergio.
Yeah, very soft. The referee's very, very petty so far, and if he keeps going like that, then we're going to have a host of free kicks, and the game's going to be stopped.
There's another one, Mark De Vries this time. Nearly caught his man. And the back was a good one there by Nielsen. Craig Gordon, I'm sure, will still be ruining that opening goal from Thomas, which was lifted over his head from a very tight angle. Jorge back, he didn't get to the ball. It's turned in by De Vries. And Hearts have that crucial away goal. A dreadful error in defence by Jorge, and De Vries cashes in.
Dreadful mistake by the defender there, Jorge. He really was very, very casual. He was strolling on to Mark De Vries, didn't really seem to have any chance of getting to it, but he kept at it. He chased the ball down in a dreadful short header back to the goalkeeper by Jorge. And terrific play by Mark De Vries. He kept chasing the ball down, he kept going for a lost cause, and that's what Hearts need.
This is really remarkable, isn't it? I mean, there seemed to be no danger at all. Mark De Vries justifies his inclusion with that one moment. If he does nothing else, he may well have won this for Hearts. The complexion of the game changes dramatically now with that away goal.
There was absolutely no danger whatsoever there. Terrific play by Mark De Vries. He's chased a lost cause, as Hearts will need all night, but it came from a kick out from Craig Gordon, and it was really just down the line to nobody in particular, trying to leave some pressure, and Mark De Vries has made something out of nothing. Terrific play by the big striker.
Advantage given there. Well, the atmosphere in the stadium has changed dramatically. It was all going so smoothly for the home side, and suddenly one major lapse in concentration by the captain of the team, and it becomes a very difficult match now. And Bender is then warned there for diving. He's lucky not to be yellow carded. That was the referee's view of it. I must confess, to me, he did appear to be caught. Well, this is different now for Hearts, and of course that goal puts energy back in the legs, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, they've actually played fairly well throughout. Apart from the goal, you never really felt one or two slack play in the midfield. You never felt as if they were going to lose a goal, but it came out of nothing. But all of a sudden now they've got fresh legs, they've got a bit of spring in their step, and they've got something to defend. And of course, the away goal means that now, over whether it's 90 minutes or in 20, Braga have to score 3 more to beat Hearts. So terrific goal for Hearts. It really changes the whole complexion of the game.
Now there's the referee for me correcting another mistake. It was a clear foul a moment ago on Bender, but he was brought down by Nielsen. The referee didn't give it. He waved to Bender to get up off his backside, and then he gives that one, which is much softer.
Yeah, defenders have got to get tight, but as soon as you make contact against these players, they're going to go down. You've got to get tight to your man, and it's a very fine line between stepping off them a yard and getting too tight to them.
The noise you hear now coming from the Hearts supporters are hearing good numbers. I'm sure they must have thought the worst whenever they lost that goal early on. Thomas. Now it's all been turned around. A strong challenge there by Stamp, but it's been penalised. Amy Jr. goes down. Phil Stamp is the man in trouble. Amy Jr. again. Bandinho played it forward. Well won by Maybury. Hartley putting pressure on Jorge. I wonder what's going through the captain's mind at the moment. His team is such a strong position, and here's trouble here. Abel and McAllister have not been in the best of terms right from the start of the match. Tempers rising. Players getting involved who shouldn't be involved, including Mark de Vries, who shouldn't be there. No reason to get involved. It's under control now, but de Vries is squaring up there unnecessarily.
I think that shows the mindset of the Braga players. All of a sudden losing that goal, you can see their mindset has changed completely, and it was something at nothing there, and you can see there they ended up trying to get Jamie McAllister sent off, because we've got to remember Jamie was booked earlier on. There's absolutely nothing in that whatsoever, but the Braga players, obviously their mindset has changed now that they've lost that goal. They realise they're going to have to chase the game and things are against them.
Mind you, I do wish McAllister would stop holding onto the opposing shirt, because that was upset Abel most of all. He was wrestling to free himself at the end there. McAllister has been guilty of that a couple of times already in the match.
As we said earlier, you know, the booking earlier in the game does put pressure on him.
Now that's good strong play by de Vries. It's been penalised. He was just stronger and more determined than Jorge. There's nothing wrong with that, surely.
It's been dreadful display of refereeing so far. Every time Mark de Vries has gone near an opponent, he's given a free kick against him. That was just good strong play, muscled the defender out of the game, and was clean through. And that would have been a great opportunity for Hearts once again, but the referee, petty as he's been the whole night, the whole half an hour so far, has pulled up Mark de Vries again.
That was a great chance actually. He was in the clear. He could have gone straight in and goal from there. Here's Jorge, determined, I'm sure, to make amends. This is Thomas, sure to go down, sure to look for the penalty. Happily looking in vain.
Yeah, Hearts have to be very careful. Alan Mabry doing very well here to win the free kick, but as we said earlier, any contact against the Braga players, they're going to go down, and they're now going to start to look for free kicks. They're going to look for penalty kicks, and look for things around the box they can exploit. So the Hearts defenders have to be very careful. They can't afford to stand off their opponents, but they can't afford to actually make contact with them in these key areas.
Hearts have to keep their discipline though. They're going to be, I think, intimidated a few times here. It's going to be a little bit of provocation. Samp is offside. No argument at the time. And kicking the ball away may result in trouble for Phil Stamp. Must have heard the whistle.
It's going to be one of these nights. This referee is picking up on absolutely everything. Yeah, daft by Phil Stamp. It's not as if he's kicked the ball miles away. But I think this referee.
It was a very close decision too. It was a close offside.
Yeah, good run by Phil Stamp again, and one of these ones will come off for him. But the Hearts players have to realise now the type of referee they're up against tonight.
Stamp's been booked. Thomas going in heavily there, claiming that there was a dive. The referee's not impressed. The yellow card is out again. Well, I would certainly bet on the fact that it's unlikely that we'll see 22 players on the field at the end.
The Braga players are losing their discipline. We talk about Hearts keeping their discipline, but they've got to keep winding the Braga players up. They've got to keep chasing them, harrying them, closing them down, because you can see already the indiscipline has crept into the Braga players. It's a couple of bookings. They're trying to get their opponents booked. They're trying to really get situations where Hearts players are getting booked. So I think that all augurs well for Hearts so far.
A long ball from Craig Gordon all the way through to Paulo Santos in goal. Forward come Braga once again. Hearts funneling back to face the ball and defend, forcing the ball to go back, which is ideal at this stage, and that's good determined work by Stamp. Back with Nem in the middle of the field. Bit of creative work here for Andinho. Abel trying to get the better of McAllister. That's a good tackle. Sharp tackle by McAllister. Now Paulo Sergio against Mabry. And it was vital for Mabry to prevent that ball coming across the face of goal, even at the expense of a corner.
Good defending on the left-hand side, both McAllister and Mabry closing players down. It's vital to stop these crosses, because it takes the pressure off your central defenders in these instances.
The outswinger preferred again. Turned back into Big Kennedy. And there's some indecisive work there. And there's an appeal for a penalty kick. A very strong appeal from Braga. They're crowding the referee there. Well, it was all a bit indecisive in that Hearts box, and now a free kick's been conceded again.
I thought there was a free kick here. I thought Alan Mabry, before this incident happened, there you see it, does strike the hand, but there's no way that Jamie McAllister can avoid that. I thought there was a free kick for Hearts. I thought Alan Mabry went to header it, and it was high feet by the Braga players, but again, they're claiming for everything. They're trying their best to get free kicks and perhaps even get a penalty kick.
Another awkward moment here for Hearts. Played in low. That's been the preferred ball in from that side of the pitch. Back with them. Good hounding there by the Hearts players. McFarlane and Hartley pushing forward to make life more difficult for the players on the ball at the back. There's Luis. Bender plays it back. Strong play by McFarlane. Good possession retained. And Kisnorbo couldn't play the ball into the path of Hartley. Well, Hearts must be thinking here, are we getting to half-time with this 1-1 position maintained? Well, one of the best rules, I've got to say, in European play is this away goal rule. It makes such a difference to the approach of teams. Maybury plays it long. That's Jorge. Paulo Sergio. Bender marked tightly by Nielsen. Well, that's a hopeful lofted ball there. There was no real design attached to that ball from McAllister. And that's sure to be given as a free kick. Well, that was one player going to try and head the ball, another not getting off his feet at all.
Alan Maybury should have cleared it earlier though, and that's not a free kick. That's one player going to attack the ball. I think that, again, as I said earlier, Thomas playing for a free kick there. This is going to be part of their game plan now. They're going to make sure they try and get free kicks in areas like this. But Alan Maybury had the chance. He panicked as he pulled it down. He could have hooked the ball away with his right foot, flicked it right up in the air with his left foot, and it's now causing problems for his teammates.
Well, Bender's a big threat normally from this situation. 15. Especially with a left foot. Craig Gordon organising the wall. It's vital the wall holds firm here. Well, there are options all around here. Jaime is over the ball too. Jaime who takes it. What a let off for Hearts. Struck with lots of power. Not enough accuracy.
I think the wall had it covered. I think Craig Gordon maybe had it covered as well, and I think in a situation like that in the middle of the goals, it's difficult to know for the goalkeeper which side he's going to go. So I think credit to Craig Gordon, but Hearts can't afford to give free kicks and easy chances to Braga in these areas, because they will take one at some point. So they have to keep defending away from their 18-yard box, push up as far as they can without being daft and leaving gaps in behind them, because if you plant yourself in your 18-yard box, you will get punished.
There's Abel playing it along the line there. Strong challenge in the back from Maybury on Paulo Sergio. Means a free kick to Braga. Well, that will suit Hearts admirably. Misunderstanding there, as the ball was played into the gap there behind me. Joel Thomas a bit remote for that. Target is De Vries. So good at that. That's excellent play by De Vries. Now Nielsen. We're happy to earn a corner, but he wasn't allowed to do that. Back with McFarlane. Hartley did well to play that inside. Kisnorbo rather. This is Nielsen. Now Hartley. And the corner kick's been earned.
Excellent play again by Hearts down this right hand side. Very impressed by Robbie Nielsen. He's been willing to get himself forward, and even though he's been pegged back his defensive duties, but again he kept possession when the ball was cleared, because Norbo and McFarlane doing their job as a defensive midfield players to win it back, and Nielsen getting it back into Hartley again. This is a good chance again for Hearts. Hopefully a better quality of dead ball this time.
Presley, Webster, Kisnorbo, De Vries, major threats inside the box here. Good defending though. Braga get the ball away quite convincingly. Well, the ball breaks out there, surely for Hearts throw. Fantino wanted to argue with that, but he'll still take the throw, and time very much on the minds of the Hearts players, I think, with half-time approaching. The last thing they want to do is allow a lapse in concentration before the interval. You can imagine the difference that will make the team talks. It's 1-1 or 2-1 against. Vries just offside there. Food for thought now for Jesualdo Pereira. Braga coach. Fernandinho plays it long. Cut off well at the back there by Maybury. Webster, in fact. That's the shot from Paulo Sergio. It's kept in well by Craig Gordon. A deflection there would have given a corner kick.
Don't want to tempt fate, Joe, but they really are fairly comfortable at the moment. Hearts, they're pushing Braga away from the goals. They're getting Paulo Sergio into areas where he's having to shoot from a deep area. They have to keep their concentration, though. They have to keep the ball, but also when they're defending, not to get too tight and give away daft free kicks, because the referee will give absolutely anything here in this game. But at the moment, you're just hoping Hearts can hold out to half-time.
Oh, here a chance for Venda. First time effort coming, and Craig Gordon down very smartly to that. Decent effort by Venda. Could have been really troublesome for the keeper.
Good save by young Craig. I think I nearly put the jinx on Hearts there. A good save by young Craig. He bounced just in front of him. But you're quite happy for Braga to be in these areas, hit shots from 25 yards. You don't want them getting closer to the box, and Hearts will be fairly happy with the way things are going at the moment.
Put up there by De Vries. Never going to survive that in Europe. There's Abel testing the pace of McAllister, but he's up to that. And off the ball, there's trouble there. Now, Abel guilty of a clear foul on Maybury. Well away from the ball. Now, how he can survive and not get a yellow card here, I really don't know.
He was the one earlier who was trying to get Jimmy McAllister sent off as well, so if the yellow card was vanished to McAllister earlier on, I think that should have been the same. He certainly had a kick, certainly a yellow card for Abel there, and I think he's quite fortunate to get away with that.
That's De Vries. Down goes the Braga player, as if poleaxed. Kennedy goes down. And a bang in the face for De Vries, but Kennedy made a lot of that. There's nothing wrong with him either. Well, this match is simmering to some extent here. Real concern that it could get out of hand. What's all that about? Thomas wide to Abel. Thomas again. This is Jaime. Hearts grouping well in defence, and there's a bit of wrestling there by Jaime on Maybury. Clear foul and a free kick to Hearts. And this looks as though it may be a thoroughly satisfactory opening half for Hearts, despite the loss of the goal, which was soft to Thomas early on. They've got a soft one back, and there's going to have to be a change made here by Pereira, the Braga coach. Coming on is Vitor Castanheira. Clearing off is Kennedy. So that's like for like. Midfield player for midfield player. An injury to Kennedy. Vitor Castanheira, 27-year-old midfield player, comes on. There's a shooting chance for Hartley. Well, they come so seldom at European football level, and Hartley did not take full advantage.
If you wanted to fall to any Hearts player, it would be Paul Hartley. Good supporting run. There, the difference between the free kicks earlier on, that one was chipped high, it was hung above De Vries, and he would go and attack these. Paul Hartley making a good run, and should have got over the ball. That was a good chance, and don't get too many at this level.
Foul by Nielsen and Venda. Well, Venda getting very upset indeed. Tell you, if Hearts could hang on here to half-time and cause some more problems to the Braga defence, this could be a happy night. Here's Abel coming inside. Well, the arms are flying there from Hartley, and Abel has lost the place. Now, the referee goes straight to Hartley. Surely, if he has to speak to Hartley, he's going to do something with Abel, who's a very lucky man, still not to have been shown a yellow card in the game. 88 is Nino. That's a very good take by Gordon, very assured handling. It was Castanheira's shot, but it could have been troublesome there for Gordon. Here's Patrick Kisnorbo. Stamp trying to use Nielsen on the overlap. Paulo Santos is calmly out to keep the ball in possession of Braga. No hopeful balls upfield, and some hard work done there by Nielsen. Well, what's your overall impression, Fraser, this first half?
I think Hearts will be delighted with the way it's gone. Any problems that Braga have caused them have been really of the making of Hearts themselves. They've been slack a couple of times in midfield. That has released Braga into attacking areas, but in general, I don't think Hearts have really looked like scoring a goal. They haven't looked like scoring themselves, but that's not their game plan. Their game plan is to come and frustrate, and I think Craig Levein will be absolutely delighted with the performance of his players in this first half.
And they went into half-time, all level. It's 1 goal apiece. The equaliser by Mark de Vries after the early goal from Thomas. And the dream of the Uefa Cup stages and the group stages still remains for Hearts. At half-time, Braga won thanks to that goal from Thomas. And one again it is for Hearts thanks to Mark de Vries. That was soft, all right, but it was certainly not as soft as the one given away here by Paulo Jorge. De Vries was very sharp and very alert, and that's what makes such a difference to this match. Hearts have that crucial away goal, and the half-time score in Braga. It's Braga 1, Hearts 1.
Thanks to Jock and Fraser, and we're back with them, of course, for the whole of the second half in Portugal. Well, what a difference a goal makes, because when Braga were ahead, one more for them meant they were through. But the minute Mark de Vries poked in that equaliser, it meant that the home team needed to score twice just to take the match into extra time, Craig. So that ends up as being a very satisfactory first 45.
A real bonus. I was a bit worried for Hearts when the game started off, especially with the one up front. As the boys said in commentary, similar systems both teams are playing, but Braga are getting forward quicker with the wide men. Hearts were sort of sitting in a bit deeper, unable to get any decent balls up to de Vries, and any balls that did go up were long, hopeful ones. And you know, they were playing football, Rob, in the wrong areas. They were trying to play into midfield in their own last third and causing themselves problems. Braga were closing them down, and as Fraser Wishart said, they were causing their own problems, Hearts. And we're lucky to get away with that, but you know, 2 mistakes. One each, and that's a very, very good result at half-time for Craig Levein.
Hearts' best passing sequence probably came towards the end of that first half, and it maybe summed up the fact that the game now is being played further down the pitch. That's right. I mean, whenever they've got over the halfway line, they've squeezed up from the back, and they've started playing some nice little passes. Hartley's been making some good runs, Stamp's been making some good runs, and de Vries has been able to get hold of the ball. But when they're trying to do that from a deep position, they're giving possession away. When they do it in Braga's half, they look dangerous. They have got players that can pass the ball, Hearts, but they don't want to be playing in dangerous areas in front of their own penalty box, and they were guilty of doing that on several occasions in the first half. We can talk tactics, we can talk technical, or, well, you can anyway, but it's the goal that makes all the difference, isn't it? It's the goal which changes the complexion of the game. As I say, I was a wee bit worried because they weren't creating too much, Hearts, and they were sitting back and they were having to soak up a lot of pressure. You know, Braga weren't great, but their Hearts were just allowing them to dictate at times. So what a relief when the goal came. It was a bad mistake, but nevertheless one that Craig Levein would have taken. One that de Vries has proved that you know, he's sharp enough to get in there, although not fully fit and playing up front on his own. He's worked very, very hard. Have to get better support up to him in the second half, but not leave too many gaps at the back, because now with the goal it's looking a lot more rosy for Hearts than it was, you know, midway through that first half. Scottish referees watching this, I'm sure, will be enjoying it, because their Slovakian counterpart has had a bit of a howler, hasn't he? I think beast's the word he's going to get from him. He's had an absolute nightmare. I mean, he's booked a couple of players early on in the game, set a precedent there. You know, the Braga players are up to all sorts, dirty tricks, they're throwing elbows, you know, they're putting their foot in off the ball, they're trying to get players sent off. McAllister's already been booked. You know, he's been involved a couple of times. Important from Hearts' point of view, don't get involved in these mind games that the Braga players are trying. The last thing they want to do is go down to 10 men. Hearts is a difficult enough game with 11, but you can obviously see since the goal Braga have been frustrated, and therefore they're employing, you know, the tricks of trying to get the Hearts players sent off, but up to this moment in time they've not bought that plan. Craig Gordon knew he'd be involved right from the start. He wasn't disappointed, and within 5 minutes a sneaky effort from the free kick, trying to beat him at the near post. Yeah, and I think the boys called it right. I think he tried this one. It was important for Gordon that he doesn't get dragged too far over expecting the cross, which he doesn't do, and expect him to make that save. It would have been a bad mistake from him had he been anticipating the crosses. A lot of goalkeepers do, but he didn't do that. And in the end he made a good save, but that was early in the game. It was important not to lose a goal at that point. Yeah, Hearts were under a lot of early pressure, and immediately after that one was paddled round the post by Craig Gordon, there was a follow-up effort from Kennedy which went over the top.
Yeah, you have to say, I mean, I think this is good skill from Kennedy here. Gets a good touch, and that's a fantastic shot. Fortunately, it was straight at Craig Gordon, and he's a big goalkeeper, and he was quite comfortable for him in the end. But they say the player here just turns well. Kennedy on his left foot, he's gone off now, and he was a bit of a threat, as I say, but that's a good effort, but I'd be disappointed if he scores from that angle, Rob.
Fraser was making the point in the commentary in the first half that a lot of the problems for Hearts were coming down that left side, and as they were trying to assess the shape of Braga and how they were playing it.
Well, Braga were pushing the full-backs, you know, in a lot more advanced position than what Hearts were doing, and the Braga wide men were then driving infield, allowing the space for the full-backs to come down, and then, you know, the Hearts were caught in a catch-22 situation and not able to pick up properly. The strikers from Braga were making some good runs as well, and they were getting in, you know, at times they were getting in behind, but didn't cause too many problems, and I think they've eventually sorted that out and realised that they can't sit so deep. You know, they've got to squeeze up, and they're causing their own problems by, you know, giving away silly possession in front of their own box. It was either Mabry or McAllister did it at the end of the first half almost for a free kick, and gave away a free kick almost in the edge of their own box by not clearing the ball properly. You can't afford to make those sort of mistakes. You know, if you want to keep yourself in this game and you don't want to make it difficult, then you play in the right areas.
Maybe it was as a result of the battering that Braga were giving Robbie Nielsen in that right-back area that brought about the full-back's mistake, because this surely was a half-hearted challenge to stop the goal. It
was. Could have stopped the cross, I think, a bit better, but Robbie Nielsen, you know, won't want to see that. Craig Levein will be having words. When he's on the back post there, I think he should be going at this with his head. He's certainly got to be throwing his body at it. He throws a leg up at it, as we'll see. The defence don't clear it. It gets a flick on here, and all of a sudden the ball comes to... I don't know if he knows, first of all, the player's there. When he realises it's too late and he hasn't been positive enough, he's really got to throw his body at this one, and Gordon gets caught in no man's land because he thinks his defender's going to deal with it. And it's a bad mistake, and at that point in the game you're thinking, what kind of story is it going to be for Hearts tonight? But fortunately, you know, they stemmed the flow and they came back into the game. It's a wonderful finish because it's very unexpected, poking it in from that sort of angle. But do you fault the goalkeeper for where he was? No, I think it was Nielsen's fault, because Gordon came out, you know, thinking Nielsen's going to clear it. He's tried to backtrack. Nielsen's, it's a half-hearted challenge at the back post. He's the full-back. He's got to be, you know, secure in that area. He's got to be getting a challenge in. He didn't get a good enough challenge in, but it was an excellent finish. Neil McFarlane has been looking more like his solid self as the first half came to a close, but he made mistakes. He got off to a shaky start, and this is exactly where Hearts don't want to give it away. Well, this is exactly what I've been talking about. Playing in your own third, playing in your defensive area, trying to pass the ball. McFarlane plays a little square pass in there, no conviction in it, ball drops to Sergio on the edge of the box, you know, and this is again a mistake, another mistake there with a bad touch, and it was a comedy of errors at that point, and luckily Sergio didn't have his shot on target, but that was just part of the thing I was talking about in terms of you cannot play there. You know, I think the centre-halves have got to be saying, you know, Stephen Presley and these kind of guys, the experienced players, saying, listen fellas, you know, I don't want to see you playing 10 yards in front of me. I want to see you squeezed over the halfway line and play from there. Eventually we saw the ball up on the other end of the pitch, and Robbie Nielsen came close to making up for his mistake. This one very nearly spun in. Well, I mean, apart from the mistake, Nielsen's been very positive, and I think the goalkeeper's going to save this, has it not take the deflection, and he's unlucky. Once it's taken the deflection, that it actually doesn't spin in. But there's a point of getting a ball early forward quickly and getting support. You know, it doesn't have to be the greatest ball up to the strikers or up to De Vries, but when a ball is played up to him, you've got to get up and support quickly for any knockdowns. Nielsen did that there, and he was unfortunate not to score. One reason for Hearts fans to be cheerful about the return to the team of Mark De Vries is the fact that when you play the ball up, he tends to be able to keep it. Another is the fact that he's got real menace up front, and he obviously had some impact on Paulo Jorge. This was a howler from the Braga defender. Well, Nielsen's was a mistake. This is an absolute clanger, and fortunately for Hearts, came at the right time. De Vries was in there sniffing, as I say. It's not been easy for him. He's up front on his own, but you've got to say, you know, he's not fully fit, but he's justified his selection in terms of getting that goal. And you know, at the end of the day, the goalkeeper, I think, doesn't cover his selling glory. You know, I don't think he's the bravest there. He could have come out and clattered De Vries, but De Vries gets a good boot in it here with the left foot, and even if this ball is going wide, I still think the big man's going to get there and slide it in, and that was just what Hearts needed at that point in the game to calm them. They played some nice football after that, Hearts, but Braga tried to drag them in to a game of attrition and getting them involved in that, and it's important they don't do that, because they're as good a footballing side as Braga, in my opinion, but they have to play in the right areas and they have to defend properly.
Major mistake by Jorge, but what was terrific for me there was the anticipation shown by Mark de Vries. He never stopped running. He never stopped following that in.
Well, that's the sign of a good striker. He knows it's going to be difficult for him. He knows chances are going to be few and far between, so he's got to be chasing all sorts of lost causes. And Jorge, it was an absolutely terrible mistake. I mean, there was no conviction in his header. The goalkeeper came out like a big pansy, it has to be said, and the goalkeepers have to be brave. And de Vries, I think he looked at de Vries and thought, here's a 14-stone big fella coming my way, I'm not going to bother. And thankfully for Hearts, it's turned around to be a goal, and exactly what they needed to relieve the pressure.
Yeah, what we desperately wanted as well was for Hearts to get that 1-1 scoreline into the away dressing room at half-time. They lived a bit dangerously once or twice, and what they don't want to do is concede free kicks like this, 25 yards out, right in front of goal. Although there was something dubious about the award, I think, in the first place of Stephen Presley winning what seemed to me to be a pretty fair header.
Yeah,
but thereafter, it's danger.
It was a good free kick. He's whipped it well. Gordon looks as if he's got it covered, but again, it was Hearts causing their own problems there in terms of not clearing the ball. I don't think it was a free kick in the initial instant. I think Presley won the ball. It was a good header, but they had to defend it properly. I think Gordon got his wall organised perfectly. The boys whipped it a good free kick, but I think the big man in goal, if it had been in target, would have had it covered.
The referee is having a shocker, and probably nothing underlines it more than this. And if we stick with this incident in which Jimmy McAllister was involved initially for Hearts, and, well, there was nothing too much to it, it was handbags. But watch what follows up. If you watch for number 88 in a Braga strip and the elbow on Patrick Kisnorbo, why is this not a red card?
Well, to be fair to the ref, he's only a yard away, he's not going to see that. It's blatant for him to see. The official is there as well. McAllister's got to be careful. He was booked here. He doesn't want to get involved. He's trying not to get involved, to be fair to him. What the Braga player's doing, I don't know. But wait and you'll see the elbow on Kisnorbo here, or the arm. Look, the arm straight in the face. It's almost like poking the player in the eye, and scratching the eye. That was the kind of movement it was, right in front of the referee. And to be honest, how he's done nothing about that. That was a red card. The referee's performance has been a disgrace. It's not been up to standard, and let's hope he sorts himself out for the second half. Or the boys said in commentary, this game is not going to finish with 22 players.
The great thing for Hearts is that the Braga players are clearly losing the plot. That Hearts equaliser has done it for them, and we'll be very surprised if there isn't a red card.
Well, they're throwing, they're going into tackles, they're diving. When a Hearts player makes a tackle, they're gesticulating to the referee, yellow card, want him sent off, want him booked. It's disappointing to see, but you get that from some of these teams abroad, unfortunately. What you're hoping for is the referee's going to be strong enough to deal with it. At this moment in time, it doesn't really look as if he knows what he's doing. He should have took some action against players, putting a hand in other players' faces. He hasn't done that. So let's hope he comes out in the second half of the referee and gets a hold of this game. Hearts don't get involved with these Braga players. As I say, I think they're as good in quality as Braga. And if they're patient and play the game properly, this game's there for the taking.
It's 1-1, and Hearts are getting no help from the referee. There was one incident towards the end of that first half when Mark de Vries went bringing down the touchline using brute force and nothing else really. The referee pulled him back when he was in on goal, and it just did not look like a free kick.
Well, it wasn't. He was clear. He was down the left-hand side. He was strong. He was pacey. The defender. It was actually a free kick to Mark de Vries. The defender tried to get hold of Mark de Vries when he realised he wasn't going to get there. De Vries knocks it by him. Defender bowls over because he has strength. He's through and goal. Hearts are coming up to support, and he blows up for a free kick. I mean, it's decisions like that. The assistant referee's there as well. He can see it. They're not having a good game, but Hearts have not got to let that bother them. They've just got to concentrate on what their job is in hand. They're doing it well enough so far. Don't make any more mistakes at the back. Try and keep a clean sheet in the second half, and they're through.
Before the equaliser, we were bemoaning a lack of support for Mark de Vries and players getting through to back him up. But now that the goal's gone in, what's Craig Levein going to be thinking about the second half?
Yeah, I mean, it is difficult because you go into that mode when you're leading the game and when you're away from home. You think, I'm just going to sit in, I'm going to play deep, but sometimes you invite them onto you. So I think, Craig, I'll probably say, let's keep it the way it is. Let's get the support up, but no, in a sensible fashion. Let's just run up there willy-nilly and leave the back four exposed, and just continue the way they're going. But let's not camp ourselves on the edge of our own box too much and invite the pressure on. Don't get involved with Braga, and try and play in the right areas.
Yeah, I mean, that's a big point, isn't it? One other point will be that Hearts are just re-emerging on the pitch now, as you can see. Make more of set pieces. When they've had free kicks, they've done absolutely nothing with them.
Well, Fraser's called it in the commentary. The set pieces have been poor, and when you get them, And they've got big guys, Hearts. You know, they've got some tall players there. They've got Webster and Presley and De Vries. And when they get in a good position, you know, they've got to be putting good balls into the box. This is the goal we see. You know, they didn't defend that pretty well. But their own set pieces, Hearts have been very poor. But this is the De Vries goal again. And he's, you know, goalkeepers.
What me?
Well, goalkeepers blaming. I think they were both to blame, and no conviction there. But 4-5-1, and that's De Vries, you know, speaking to the referee, and I think Craig Levein might have been having a word with the referee up the turn as well about his performance in the first half.
Mark De Vries is saying, any chance of a free kick?
I think he's having a go about the decision at the touchline that we spoke about when he was clear. He wasn't happy with that, and you know, the referee booking him there was a disgrace, and hopefully his performance will be better.
How bad has he been? How good has he been for Hearts? It's 1-1, halfway there, second half, with Jock and with Fraser.
And darkness descending on the Municipal Stadium in Braga, around the outskirts of the playing arena, of course. The lights are on, and the referee, Anton Stredic, who booked Mark De Vries right on the half-time whistle for a bit of dissent, which was really foolish, Fraser, because Mark De Vries might need all the lives he can get here.
Well, I think there's levels of dissent. We saw there that Mark was just trying to have a quiet word with the referee, and he's one of these fussy guys that you can't speak to, and as Craig said at half-time, he's having an absolute nightmare. So it's going to be a tough job in the second half for Hearts. They have to start again as if it was nothing each, as if they're playing the game from the start, and they also have to keep their discipline, not only in their positional sense and defend properly, but also not get involved with the Braga players and not allow this referee to continue with the useless decision he's made so far.
Here's Jaime Jr. tackled by Kisnorbo. I think we have to accept that was a free kick to Braga, all right. Even taking that quickly, Braga were looking to cause some trouble for the Hearts players, discipline. And another decision goes Braga's way. Paulo Sergio. And this is a very dangerous situation at the edge of the penalty box for Braga. The Hearts will have to be at their most diligent here to defend. Craig Gordon has done well in terms of his organisation of his defence so far in the game. This wall has to be in exactly the right place. This time Vender will take it, I think, the left-footed wide man. Wall did well. Shooting chances on, though. Another very good block. Hearts doing extremely well there, showing courage and determination. Abel there was the player who was hoping to do better with this one, and it broke off.
Good defending again. There's 4 or 5 players closing down the guy on the edge of the box who's shooting, but it's really difficult for the Hearts defenders to know what to do, because they're just getting free kicks against them all the time in the penalty box. Every time the ball gets played forward, the Braga players are throwing themselves, even if there's the slightest contact. So they have to keep the discipline. They have to not get frustrated, the Hearts players, and the back 4 have to stay away from the penalty box as much as they can, because they're obviously going to be given a lot of free kicks away with this referee.
Bender penalised that time, and quite rightly so, for his intentions there on Nielsen. So the opening stage of this second half, very important indeed. Hearts trying to settle into a pattern of play which can serve them right to the end of the game. Still looking, I'm sure, for the chance to come forward like this. Here's De Vries. Can he get a shooting chance? On. De Vries doing well! Very well indeed! Goal number 2 for Mark De Vries. But surely now, the group stage is back in for Hearts.
Oh, terrific play by big Mark De Vries. I was just about to scream at him saying, pass it, pass it. And he's had a big wild swing with his left foot. He's taken a wicked deflection. But it just shows you positive play can earn you a goal. De Vries doing so well. They're using his strength and driving straight to the back 4. And he's justified his selection here already with 2 goals.
Well, the goalkeeper left totally flat-footed here as De Vries drives at the defence. That's what did all the damage. I think it came off that man, Paulo Jorge, too. He was the unlucky defender. Well, what a difference that's made now for Hearts. Well, let's do the mathematics. It would take 4 goals to beat them now.
They have to keep their discipline again. You know, it's not all over yet, but if Hearts can just play the game properly, then they can see this one out. It's vital that the guys like De Vries and McAllister and the other, Bill Stamp, I think, on the yellow cards, don't get involved, don't do anything daft. The back 4 have got to keep their discipline, keep their shape, and keep defending away from the box, and the Hearts can definitely see this one out. And as Braga push more and more players forward, as they do from the full-back areas, Hearts could perhaps even get another one to break.
And they're singing with the Hearts supporters. Oh, what a joyful occasion this could be if things stay the way they are right now. Another foul given with a challenge there on Vender, always willing to go down in dramatic fashion. He'll be up quickly to take this free kick. Neil McFarlane was a culprit. Seemed to play the ball to me, but Vender will be up to take the free kick. Just give him a second. Craig Gordon taking no chances. Hearts taking no chances. It's a precious, precious lead, this. And the wall again doing a good job for Hearts. It's not so easy to organise a wall so efficiently, but so far Craig Levine deserves great credit for the way in which he's organised that defence.
Yeah, they've played very, very well. They've had lots of help in the wide area on this side. Jimmy McAllister's been excellent. He's really helped Alan Maybury with Abel charging forward. And I think it's been a very, very disciplined performance, very cool, calm and collected performance by Hearts. They just have to keep going and keep playing the way they're playing, keep possession, don't get involved with the opposition, because Braga, obviously their mindset's changed and they're going to get frustrated and try and get the Hearts players into trouble. They have to just keep playing the way they've been playing, and I think you can see this one out, no problem.
Another free kick given. McFarlane's foot was about 6 inches off the ground. That was enough to give the referee room to call for a foul. But the next 10 minutes, really important. If Hearts can settle, retain this lead for about 10 minutes, I have the strongest feeling that Braga might just fade away.
Yeah, they seem to be a team that gets rattled easily. They seem to lose their discipline as they did in the first half, and already you can see them shouting at the referee. They're throwing themselves at every opportunity, and Hearts just need to stay calm. They need to just keep the ball, keep frustrating Braga, and the longer the game goes on, the more Braga's heads will go down.
Strong challenge there made by McFarlane. Took a knock in the process. Hartley guilty of a foul there, no doubt about that. He'll be in trouble for that. Bender's the player who wants to make an issue of this. Yellow card is shown. I think it was shown to Hartley rather than McFarlane.
He had a tug there as Bender just went by him. I think Paul just tugged him here, and perhaps a wee bit harsh, but in the scheme of things, it's always going to be a yellow card with this referee. But I don't like Bender's attitude. He's trying to gather players into bother, and I hate to see that on the football pitch.
McAllister playing it up the line there. The only player who could chase that is Martin de Vries, but Paulo Santos way out of his area to try and get Braga back in the attack. Castañeda, Luis. Good tummy that involuntarily by Hartley to Chris Norbo. And a very good spin by Hartley. Here's McFarlane. Nielsen goes outside him. Measured pass from McFarlane. Well, that was a hopeful one, looking, I think, for de Vries at the far side of the box. But giving Nielsen that long chase back to his defensive beat. Well, Hearts supporters enjoying this occasion at the moment to the full. Come a long way, paid a lot of money, hoping to see their team qualify for the group stages of the Uefa Cup. Things could scarcely be going any better at the moment. Still, a team of real character and courage would still realise they have about 38 minutes to turn this round, Braga. Here's Castañeda, substitute. Back with Paulo Sergio. Bender giving it away. He's moved off left flank into the centre of the attack. Oh, that's good play by Nielsen, and quite callously taken out there. Well, it was Luis who should be in trouble for that, but he's not going to be.
I think he was a Hearts player and got a yellow card for that challenge there. Young Nielsen playing very well, apart from the goal. He's put that to the back of his mind, and he's not only defended very well, but he's galloped forward in support of midfield and forwards, and he can be very pleased with his performance so far.
Headed away by Paulo Jorge. That time was more effective. Isabel. Put under pressure there by McAllister. Just give Hearts now time to settle on this lead, Fraser, and you'd have to fancy them strongly.
You have to keep playing the way they're playing just now. It's a bad tackle by Abel. If he doesn't get booked, then I don't know who who else is going to get booked tonight? Because there's so many free kicks, but yet again he gets away with it. But
that's incredible, actually. He has perhaps given away more balls than anyone else on the pitch, and that's a nasty one.
He's also tried to get McAllister and every other player booked, so he certainly deserves a yellow card. But Hearts have got to just keep closing down. They can't afford to stand off. They've got to play the game in the same manner, but stay on their feet. Jimmy McAllister did well there before that incident to win a throw-in. Just stay on their feet, keep pushing guys back and keep challenging them. Don't give them any time in the ball.
Hartley's free kick. The glancing header there, that could have been troublesome. Andy Webster up with the attack.
Last a good free kick. Last a good free kick with Paul Hartley. A good ball into the box with a good pace, and Andy Webster got away from his defender. But we spoke in the first half about the quality of the ball. If you put a ball in with that kind of pace on it, it doesn't take much for the forward. He just needs to get his head onto it, and that wasn't far away.
Jaime Jr. playing it at the space there. Chasing player is Vender. A lot of talent, Vender. Castañeda. Back with Luis. Jaime Jr. now takes over. He was principal playmaker in the first half for Braga. Now Abel. Well, frustration is obvious on his part. We had Craig Levine out there. He's had a go down there in front of us with the fourth official, complaining bitterly, especially when that Abel tackle a moment ago was allowed to go unpunished. Paulo Sergio showing enough of that to Webster. Great part of the education process too for all these young Hearts players. Abel flighting it in. And Gordon decided to stay in his line there. I thought he was coming for that, but he checked out. Bender's been penalised for a bit of pushing.
Need to work a bit harder there. Alan Mabry perhaps could close down better. As I said earlier, you have to close down in the wider areas of full-back and wide midfield players. It really does take the pressure off. If you can close guys down, stop the crosses, that's as good defending, because it takes the pressure off the centre-backs. But Robbie Nielsen doing well again, standing his ground, making sure that he got his body in between Wenger and the ball, and making Wenger foul him and take the pressure off Hearts.
Abel again, looking for the ball on the other side and getting it. Here's Jaime Jr. A little handoff in the process. Victim there was McAllister. Bandinho. Cross here to Nem. Good ball forward, good play. Castañeda now eased off the ball very well indeed by Nielsen. That was excellent defending by Robbie Nielsen, supporting his central defence. Still a problem though for Hearts. Maybe not now, as Kisnorbo has a chance to clear. A long one for De Vries to chase. How long can he keep doing this though, Mark De Vries? Playing up front in his own. A major injury out before the game. He's given so much to the cause. But there are signs now he's labouring somewhat, Fraser.
Well, I think it was always going to be a decision that Craig was going to have to make. I think he would probably have asked Mark De Vries just for an hour. Give us your best and see how it goes, and it couldn't have gone any better because he scored the 2 goals, but he's also had a yellow card as well, so I think all these things will get through Craig's mind. He'll want to give it another 5-10 minutes, I think, with Big Mark's physical presence up there. If you get a free kick or a corner in a good area, he's still a threat, but they do have options on the bench to replace him.
That's good play though by McFarlane once again. I mean, a very good initial tackle to win the ball, then held off Jaime Jr., who was guilty of a foul. Those tireless, grafting midfield players, ideally suited to a game of this kind of intensity. Webster's pass was very accurate, so was McAllister's. No free kick given there because Norbo goes down. This time the referee would have been right. Said that too often tonight. Here's Paulo Sergio. Well, that was handball, surely. It's been given all right. And Vender wants to have his say once again. Jumps into the defender, catches it in his hands, and complains about the free kick.
I think similar to Abel as well. I think he's somebody who probably deserves a yellow card as well. Perhaps with as much of the way he's acted throughout the whole game. And I think it's just a sign of frustration, a sign of how well Robbie Nielsen has played him and how well Hearts have played as a team.
Good strong challenge there by Nem on the Vries that time. Good to see an aerial challenge which was not penalised. There's no reason to penalise it. That hasn't stopped the Slovakian referee frequently already in the match. Jaime Jr. again. Abel on the right hand side. Forced inside by good closing down by McAllister. That enabled Kisnorbo to make a tackle. Good pressure play again by Hearts. And this time the ricochet off Abel. Gives the throw to Hearts despite the indication to the linesman that he needs his eyes tested from Abel. Another change has been made there by Braga. Brought on Baha's Moroccan striker. Change in the pattern of play. Thomas, the player, I think, who's gone off.
No doubt they have to change things, Braga, if they want to get back into the game, and this is where it's vital that Hearts keep the concentration when the personnel change. Braga have got to throw men forward, they've got to get more guys in an advanced position, but what they do is the front 4 or 5 players ahead of Fandinho, they change positions constantly, so Hearts have to keep their concentration, especially as they're getting tired and as the game goes on.
And happily there for Hearts, the long pass. Maybe for Luis on the far side was too long. You can see by his face how he feels about things tonight. Well, there was that spell after the first goal was scored by Braga where it looked as though it was a long, difficult night for Hearts. But they really have turned this round. That's a careless pass though. Good opportunity to retain possession for Hearts, given away there. Fandinho, the holding midfield player. Jorge to them. Now Luis. Paulo Sergio dropping deeper and deeper to try to become involved in the build-up play. This is something which will certainly satisfy Hearts. These attacking players are dropping deeper and deeper. This is Castañeda. Looking there for Baha. No ceremony there from Alan Maybury. Thumped into the stand. We're now past the hour mark. It's looking better as time goes on now. The goal scored by De Vries coming in the 47th minute. That could have fallen unkindly. It's played up well by Nielsen, but he's now in trouble against Luis. Good tackling again. A little sign of fatigue there on the part of McFarlane though. Castañeda blocking that challenge on Stamp, and the throw goes to Hearts.
It's played very well, young McFarlane, and also Kisnorbo in the midfield as well. They do the unglamorous role. They're the guys who are doing all the chasing, all the harrying. They're closing down, and with the way that the Braga forwards interchange, the midfield players interchange, it's been a tough job, but they do the unglamorous job, which allows Stamp and allows Hartley in particular to go and support Mark De Vries, and I think Neil McFarlane's certainly justified his selection tonight.
There's Paulo Sergio. Just dropped back to accommodate Baha. A strong challenge, halting Baha. Support play coming from them, the Brazilian central defender playing a good ball through into the gap there for Castañeda. Presley very careful there with the second challenge, didn't dive in, could have given away a penalty easily. Nem's pass is a good one. A dramatic fall there, and the referee not deceived, watched the play for Hearts. Stamp applying a lot of pressure there on the far side of Luis, who didn't like it at all. Oh, here's a chance coming in, and it was very well cleared up inside the area by Andy Webster. Baha was the player who came in late on him. There was a chance, and the ball came over the top.
I think it's Alan Maybury here who gets caught defending too close to his centre defender. Baha's come round the back of him, and Alan got caught under the ball there, and that was a half chance there. Baha, if his first touch had been better, he had a good shot on goal, but fortunately Andy Webster read it well and cleared, although he took a knock in the process.
Hearts are looking to get to a stage in the match where Braga realise the task is beyond them. That's where they're trying to get to. Then things should become much more comfortable, but still with best part of 25 minutes on the clock. Quick goal for Braga could make it interesting.
Yeah, it's still a vital stage in the game. I mean, Hearts are fairly comfortable, but they don't want to give Braga any edge whatsoever. They don't want to give them any lift. Paulo Sergio's taken up a much deeper role to accommodate another striker, so they've still got these players who can really create things. I've been very impressed by Castañeda in the midfield as well. He looks very creative, so Hearts have to keep concentrating. Good defending there, holding the line. That's what they have to do. Stay away from that penalty box, be brave and defend further up the park.
Tight decision, but the correct one. Caught offside, and Hearts supporters relishing this to the full. And the prospect of another 6 matches in Europe to come if Hearts can hang on here. Good judgment shown by Webster, letting that bounce all the way through to Craig Gordon. Case normal, measured pass. McAllister back to Maybury. This is good play from Hearts. Keeping the ball in these tight areas. That's a bit ambitious. Going in towards Hartley. Jaime Jr. and the flag was up for a moment against McAllister, then taken down. And good marking there by Presley. He had to be very tight on Thomas, and he was.
So they've got to be careful of here. Jamie McAllister gave the ball away and Alan Maybury had made a run on the overlap. Jamie should have rolled him in. He's tried to pass inside and all of a sudden Braga broken. And where do they break? Into the space that Maybury's left.
Here's the Vries. Beautifully stopped by Nem. A solid challenge by the Brazilian. Very experienced player. Oldest player of the team, 31, along with the goalkeeper Paulo Santos. So that Paulo Sergio, number 8, playing in the role vacated by Abel, who's the player substituted. Perhaps before he was sent off or in serious trouble. That's for Thomas. And Craig Gordon taking that so comfortably, inspiring extra confidence.
Again, I think Robbie Nielsen could have worked harder there to close down the cross. He stood a yard or two off and allowed, I think it was Louis Hjorg, to throw the ball into the box. And if they allow that, then it's going to cause problems. Another couple of yards forward, he'd have closed that down, blocked across, and made it much easier for his fellow defenders.
Good tackle there by Maybury. Breaks back to Paulo Sergio. This is Vandinho. Play off from Venda to Castañeda, who has looked a good player since he came on. He's been injured though, that's why he hasn't featured right from the start. Back to Vandinho. The shot there came from Jaime Jr. Back it comes to Nem. Right now, tempting fate to say it, but there's no sign that Braga really have the key to unlock this Hearts defence. The sloppiness creeping in as tiredness influences the play. This is Jaime Jr. again. Ball to Thomas. Bender. And a good block made inside the area.
Again, problems of their own making though. Again, Neil McFarlane, you talk about tiredness, you wonder how long he can go. He's a fit lad, but the role he plays, he's about the park. He's closing people down. He's not played much this season, but there's also, you look at Mark de Vries as well, and Jamie McAllister left-hand side with a yellow card to their name. So a few decisions perhaps to be made soon by Craig Levine.
Clearance there by Stamp. He was fouled late after clearing the ball, and the Slovakian referee found that amusing. But he did give the free kick, which is the most important thing. I think you'll find it's Baha who commits the foul as the ball is cleared. Well, Hearts have taken all the sting out of the game, and Bender's course is run in this match. He's withdrawn. Ticinha has come on. Another Brazilian, 24-year-old striker, replacing Bender. Over the head of Luis. The evolving ball works well there for Braga. Good innovation that though, Fraser, to have all these balls around the pitch. Keeps the play flowing.
Yeah, it keeps it going, it keeps it interesting as well. It means the defensive team have got to concentrate because you can't turn your back on the game, and that will probably keep Hearts on their toes. It's a senior coming on there. I think he'll probably play a similar role to Wenger, who's been completely snuffed out. You can see the frustration coming in his game, and young Robbie Nielsen can take a lot of credit for the way he's played. But again, keep concentrating. There's been a change of personnel. There's new players on that perhaps Hearts aren't too aware of how they play. They have to keep concentrating, keep pushing the Braga forwards away from goal, and they can see this game out over the last 15 minutes quite comfortably if they do that.
It's a good pass there from Maybury towards Kees Norbo. He's hoping there to get through, and he's going to get one. Hearts very happy to keep the ball deep inside the Braga half in these late stages. Past the three-quarter point, past the halfway point in the second half now. Still leading by 2-1, which means, of course, 5-2 on aggregate. So they have the cushion here. They need to lose 4 goals in the closing 20-odd minutes if they're to be taken out of the competition, Hearts. Another 3 goals for Braga would mean Hearts were still winning on away goals. They scored twice here in Portugal, whereas Braga managed only 1 at Murrayfield. De Vries still working hard up front, and in the way of that clearance, ricochets to Paulo Santos. Well, there may have been some good fortune with the Hearts goals, but haven't they worked hard for their good fortune?
Yeah, they deserved it thoroughly, Jock. I don't think they've ever really been in any trouble from Braga. The problems they created in the first half were really through Hearts making slack passing across the midfield and giving them a chance, and it doesn't look as if Braga can actually lift their game. I know they're a team with a reputation of being either brilliant or terrible, but they've played a very, very one-pace game. They don't seem to be able to lift it, and Hearts have been very, very competent, hard-working, good performances across the pitch.
It looked to me as though they needed strong leadership on the field, Braga, after they lost the second goal in particular. Perhaps even after the first goal, that appeared to be missing. And that's given Hearts the chance to dig in here, establish themselves in the match, grow in confidence like this, play the passes calmly around. Good European play this by Hearts. Okay, it is a very strong cushion they have, but still, matured substantially with this performance. Hartley running into trouble there and going in rashly on Hartley. That was a bad tackle by Hartley. He's been booked already. It could be another yellow. Is it? He's over the top. He's out of order.
Well, if he gets away with that one, then he's a fortunate man. His first one may well have been a bit harsh, but Paul's certainly lucky to get away with that one, and perhaps the referee give them the benefit of the doubt, given the first one. I thought the referee was going over there into his pockets.
No, he went to his top pocket, Fraser. I've no doubt at all about that. Then realised that it would have had to be a red, and that's why he really just chickened out. And really, on his performance tonight, that's not a great surprise.
No, a break for Paul Hartley there. Very, very fortunate. He's had a terrific game, but that's a side to his game that sometimes creeps in. And he's very fortunate there to get away with that. But again,
a reprise of the goals here coming up. That was the first. Here was the equaliser for De Vries. 2 terrible pieces of defending there on each side. And then the deflected shot off Jorge by De Vries. And that's what's given Hearts this precious lead. Long way out for a direct shot at goal, this surely, against a goalkeeper of this calibre. A very good closing down from the short free kick with Hartley, who was brave enough to charge that down. Back now with Maybury. Paulo Sergio did well. A strong challenge on Kees Norbo. Here's Castañeda. It's carefully watched by Gordon. He got a touch on it, I think, just to be safe. Fingertips on it. It's a corner kick. And again, well won inside the area by De Vries. That's another aspect of his contribution, which is sometimes underrated.
Yeah, he does. He's so good in the air in both penalty boxes, and that might be a reason why Craig's keeping him on just now, because he's beginning to look quite tired. He's a little bit sluggish.
Paulo Sergio with a great hit. It's a brilliant save by Gordon. Well, that's just the sort of save that can break opponents' hearts. Top-class goalkeeping, this.
Well, the last thing they want to do is to give Braga a lift, even though they need 4 goals. They don't want to give them a lift at any stage, and that's a terrific save by young Craig Gordon. He's looked very assured tonight, and he's certainly given his back 4 confidence. Well struck by Paulo Sergio, outside of his foot, and a terrific diving save by young Craig.
And I wonder if that might be the moment when Braga said, no, this is not our night. It's Norwell battling hard. Jacinha there got his first real touch of the game. That's Luis. Jacinha again, colliding with Presley. The corner kick is given, nothing more. Jacinha trying to find his way into the game. Very difficult coming on so late, the substitute up front. Just for a moment, Gordon looked to be at sea there. Caught underneath the ball. So let off there for Hearts and went straight out for the goal kick.
A wee spell of pressure here from Braga. This ball, you see here, Craig Gordon, I don't think he was 100% control of it, but he's got away with it. But wee spell of pressure. Hearts need to get the ball into the Braga half and just keep it for a couple of minutes, take the pressure off the back 4 and give some relief, and again knock the stuffing out of Braga.
So possession won again by Castañeda in that midfield area, centre midfield. Here's Baja. Denied the space to get the ball across goal by Maybury. Dublin-born defender doing a fine job there. One of many right-footed left-backs who do a good job. And swinging again. Good deflected ball. It's cleared off the line. Rescued up the line by Nielsen. Baja asks a question, but Gordon was certainly beaten.
He's a big lad, Baja, here, and he beat Stephen Presley to the ball, and Robbie Nielsen just managing to get a shin to it there to scrape it off the line. Almost went in. He's almost behind the line there. The Braga players claiming for a goal, but I don't think it was over.
Definitely not over. Another chance. This time it is in. Jaime Jr. And it's Hearts defence caught, transfixed there. No one moved for that. Perhaps, I think, still reflecting on their good fortune a moment ago. And Craig Gordon certainly not covering himself in glory here.
Well, it's the same corner again, and it's Paulo Jorge who's given away 2 goals tonight for Braga, who wins the ball at the front post, and nobody picking up Jaime at the back post. But it was just a wee lull there. I don't know whether it was a wee bit tiredness or lack of concentration for 5-10 minutes there. Braga having a real spell of pressure, and it's the last thing they wanted to do. Although Hearts have still got a comfortable lead, they don't want to give any sort of lift to their opponents, and now for the next couple of minutes they need to get the ball up into this area, keep it there, and give their back 4 a little bit of a breather for a spell.
2-2 on the night. Still comfortable on aggregate for Hearts, but they won't want to lose another one, that's for sure. That lovely handball. Something I missed on the linesman. That's a careless clearance there by Webster. Lucky to find that the control required on the part of Jaime was not good enough, and he certainly is entitled to be feeling the pace now. He's been on the ball so often for Braga tonight. Kevin McKenna's coming on. Well, his first match of the season, we expected him to start up front in place of De Vries. Fortunately for Hearts, De Vries was able to play. Now McKenna will make his contribution, replacing the goal-scoring hero for Hearts, Mark De Vries.
Yeah, getting booed by the Braga fans, that's always a good sign as a player. Here we see the second goal, being very positive, has a swing out to his left foot and gets the luck of the deflection, but thoroughly deserved. It's a terrific performance for him. A guy who's only half fit, very doubtful for the game at the start, and he deserves all the plaudits tonight.
Now what can McKenna do? Knee surgery a very short time ago. Last fit for the match tonight, Canadian international. Good measured pass, but too much pace in the ball. It's relief for Hearts. Well, it was the first real evidence of that equalising goal. Was the first real evidence of terrible slackness back. There was 2 in a minute. The one before that was almost stayed off the line by Nielsen, but Hearts just beginning to struggle a bit. Perhaps the warm, muggy evening preying on them. They've worked so hard, and the concentration levels have had to be so good suppose we can forgive them the odd lapse.
Yeah, it was one of the few lapses, but I think they should have learned from the first corner kick. It was exactly the same ball in for the second one, and they didn't attack the ball. The Hearts defenders, they allowed Paulo Jorge to get a header in, and nobody was picking up Jaime, so it was a combination of errors. But I suppose on the night like this, if you'd asked Craig Levein at this stage of the game, would he take 2 each, you'd have said yes. He's got 1 or 2 decisions to make. He's still got a couple of substitutions to make, and I wonder if he might think of bringing on fresh legs.
And which ones, if he does that? That's the interesting part too. Does he look for the grinding defensive midfield worker? Does he look for a bit of creativity or a bit of attacking flair?
Well, he's got problems here. Paul Hartley's obviously walking a tightrope now. He's very close to getting a second yellow card. Jamie McAllister as well in the first half. And these are all decisions that you have to make looking to the future, and Hearts are fortunate enough in a position to make these decisions, because Braga still need to score 3 goals, and the way it's going just now, Hearts have got another 4 ties in the next round of the group stages of Europe, and all these things have to be taken into consideration. But it's up to McAllister and Hartley now. They're experienced players, they know the game, they've got to know when to tackle and when to stay on their feet.
Yes, a minimum of 4 matches in the group stages beckoning for Hearts, if they can see this one out. Nem now in possession, the Brazilian defender. Luis, one of the better Braga players, left back. Chisinha playing it back. Hearts are happy to see it being knocked around the back 4. That'll serve their purpose very well indeed. McAllister going down there, allowing Paulo Sergio to come forward, and Maybury showing very good turn of pace to deny Baha. Kiz Norbo. Lapse in control there in the middle of the field by Hartley. This is Jaime Jr. lining up the shooting chance. And Craig Gordon throwing himself to the right. May have got a touch there. It was going wide, I think.
I think he did get a touch here. I think diving across, just keeps fingers to it. Craig, another good save from this point of view. But again, it's been a wee bit slack. You wonder if the tiredness is beginning to creep in. As you get tired, the concentration tends to go, and they're certainly giving the ball away once or twice in areas where they shouldn't be. But these are perhaps being a wee bit too critical. They've had some great performances throughout the team, and they've worked so hard for this game so far.
No corner given there. I think it looked as though it might have been a touch behind, but goal kick was given. But it's Luis coming forward again for Braga. This is Chisinha. That's a very good cross. It had to be one at the far post, and was one very well indeed by Maybury. Baha was the danger. Into the closing 10 minutes. A bit of stoppage time, no doubt, will be added. Back to Paulo Sergio. Away safely by Stamp. That's McKenna. Oh, he was caught there by Paulo Sergio.
Good play by Kevin McKenna again, turning, waiting for the tackle, inviting the tackle, wanting probably a throw in, but managing to get a free kick, and this just eases the pressure on the back four. We've had a couple of great challenges by Alan Maybury there just to take the pressure off the back four as well, but good play by Kevin McKenna there.
No question, the pace has dropped considerably. Both sides struggling. Find the conditions demanding. They're given so much. Both sides. A careless one there by McKenna. Hartley might have been on that had it been played just a little more firmly. Paulo Jorge made the challenge. Here's Nem now inside to Castañera. Paulo Sergio on the near side. Playing right back in a back four. Jaime Jr. played it across. Hearts funnel back, face the ball. They're all facing the ball. Jaime Jr. And now it's played inside by Paulo Sergio. Perhaps lucky he didn't make better contact there. He might have been in trouble. The pass forward, a tired one from Bandinho away from Baha. Bandinho has certainly worked very hard in that holding role, the 26-year-old Brazilian. A long chase here from McKenna. Paulo Jorge making no mistake that time. That's a good header down. Well, Paulo Jorge just kicked McAllister in the chest. Nowhere near the ball.
again. I think if that had been a Hearts player committing that free kick, he would have been given the yellow card. Look, his feet are up very, very high. That's a terrible challenge by Paulo Sergio. He's fortunate not to get a yellow card there.
And threw the ball away just to add to that. So the referee is content with a 1 this time. Just wonder how he is linguistically. Wants Hearts to get a move on. Not going to see a high number held up by the 4th official on 90 minutes. Phil Stamp's going off. He's worked hard for the cause. And Ramon Pereira goes on. I wonder if McKenna will stay up or whether he may drop back now. But Pereira surely will go into attacking position. Another injury problem before the match. He's been out of the side for a couple of games after making an initial early impression, which is favourable. And indeed, McKenna has dropped back a little. Pereira being left to do most of the attacking. Well, let's hope McKenna does push forward as well. McFarlane getting help there from Presley, and there's a foul given for the attentions there on the 2 Hearts players.
I think Phil Stamp limped off there. I think he's picked up a slight thigh strain. Obviously, with so many games coming up just now, he's as well coming off. But Kevin McKenna's dropped back into that wide right midfield role, so there'll be no change in formation. They'll keep the 5 across the middle. They'll try and close things down. We've got a different option now in Pereira up front. He's a big lad, but he's also quite comfortable with the ball into his feet.
Yeah, he'll take
so he'll take it to feet and take it for runs and commit defenders. So he gives them another option now.
Well, that's a careless one. That's a bad ball. A chance here on the counter now for Braga. They haven't had too many chances to do that. But here's Baha, wide on the right. Playing it in very early and straight into Maybury. That allows Hearts to regroup in defence. Back with Castañeda. Now Paulo Sergio. Across to Nem. Hearts again, all facing the ball. Very hard to play through a team group defensively like that. Well, Pereira's come back to help in defence. He's no chance of reaching that.
Getting his pass 2 minutes ago when he just came on, I think he's better away from the goals. That was a slack piece of play by the substitute just on the pitch, and it was terrific defending again by Alan Maybury, blocking the cross, taking the pressure right off the defence.
Going into the last 5 minutes now. I suspect they may be closer to 10, unless the referee's decided that there's no prospect of Braga coming back, and Castañeda will not help their cause with shooting like that.
He's looked a good player since he's come on as well, and he's played some nice short passes. He's played linked with the strikers very well, but again, good play by Hearts. They're forcing the ball back forcing Braga, back towards their own defence, and it's sheer frustration and sheer just hope that they're having these 25-30 yard shots.
That's Pereira asking a great deal there of Robbie Nielsen, who's entitled to be very tired indeed. Look at handball, indeed it is. Free kick's been given. He's been a good contribution to the Hearts tonight. Now Paulo Sergio. I'm sure all Hearts supporters watching this, and even inside the stadium, well, looks so comfortable scoreline wise. Still very anxious to hear this final whistle. And that's a clear foul, and surely worthy of more than a free kick. Baha, in the context of what's gone before. I like that second goal for Hearts has made all the difference to the edge of the game, because really up till that point it was simmering.
Yeah, at that point coming out for the second half, there was only 2 goals needed by Braga to bring the tie level, and as with any game, it's unbalanced. But
well, Ramon Pereira there charging in. He seemed to be eased off the ball by Paulo Jorge. He thought he was fouled. The goalkeeper's not happy with Pereira. They're having a few words. But just for a moment there, it looked as though Pereira might have a chance at goal.
I didn't think there was much in it. I think it was much that both players were trying to pull each other back there and trying to get in front of each other, and I don't think there was anything much in it. But go back to the De Vries goal. It was a good piece of play, positive play by the big striker, and that whole goal just changed the whole complex of the game. It changes the mindset of Braga, who all of a sudden feel they've got absolutely no chance, and also gives Hearts supreme confidence.
Chisinha did brilliantly there. This is great play by Chisinha, and it's deflected behind for the corner by Webster. Very important intervention there by Andy Webster. Delightful play by Chisinha on that left-hand side. One of the players, of course, not suffering from the kind of tiredness which is really through the ranks now. McKenna doing a fine job with a decisive header clear. Bandinho trying to go outside Pereira. Another good tackle.
He's been terrific tonight, Kisnorbo. He really has. He's done the unglamorous role in midfield, but him and McFarlane have been absolutely outstanding. They've closed down, they've forced players away, and they've allowed guys at Heartline Stamp to attack. And I think Kisnorbo's been excellent once again.
Very unglamorous chores they have, isn't it? And there's Gordon again getting to that, and I think happier with his contribution there, punching it out. Played back in by Luis. Offside, surely. Yes, the flag is up. Well taken by Thomas, nevertheless.
Close.
It's tighter than I thought.
Close. Yeah. If that was at the other end, we'd be saying that was very, very close. But again, the same corner that brought the second goal, causing problems again. Craig Gordon managing to get his fist to it, but not really getting too much purchase on it. So that's something Hearts have to be aware of if Braga do get another corner in that area.
Well, we're looking to see just how much time is going to be added on here. Singing you here, celebrating what will, I think, be a terrific Hearts triumph. So in the midfield, we're looking forward again. This is for Bandinho, asking very much of the very tired midfield player. Cleared there by Gordon, and straight down the throat there of the man in midfield, who was Bandinho, and this is Jaime Jr. Well, out of ideas now, I would suspect. The Portuguese team looked very threatening and dangerous for a long time, but now Hearts have things well in hand, and the opportunity to bring in Mark de Vries has proved to be absolutely crucial for them.
Yeah, it was interesting when both him and Ramon Pereira travelled. You began to think they would play some part in the game, but I don't think anybody expected Mark de Vries to start the game. And his contribution has been absolutely outstanding. Not only his 2 goals, but just his general link-up play as well. He brings other players into the game, he holds players off, and also, of course, a defensive role as well. He's won a few crucial headers, but it's a terrific night for Hearts, and you really are looking at this. How often do Scottish clubs go away from home and have such a comfortable time in the last 10 minutes? This is easy street now for Hearts. They're playing the game the right way, and it's a terrific night for everybody connected with Hearts.
Stephen Presley with a free kick. And the nastiness has long gone out of this game too. Certainly looked as though it might boil over, and I was really banking on there being fewer than 22 in the field by the end. This could be a late consolation though. Baha held up well by that man Kisnorbo. Such an athlete. Back here with Webster. Kisnorbo eased out of that though by Jaime Jr. Chance perhaps for a consolation towards the end. The tackle came from Webster. And Jaime Jr. took that away from his own player. Seeing out time, that's the only task left for Hearts now. They're doing it with some comfort until Kisnorbo's fatigue resulted in them falling over there. A very nasty tackle by Thomas. At least he has the grace to apologise. A high challenge on Nielsen. Let's hope there's no serious damage here.
Brave play by the young fullback, who can be delighted once again with his performance. He's developing into a regular first-team player now, and he's seen the boot coming there, but he's still put his head in the way to be committed to clear that ball and to take the free kick, and he'll be delighted. I don't think he'll feel the pain from that anymore.
I think he's lucky it wasn't either blades or the long studs that came in there. I think it's a moulded sole that Thomas has, and it would have made a big difference. He could have his face ripped with a stud, couldn't he?
Yeah, it was certainly a dangerous one, and it was a daft one from Thomas as well, because he had the chance to attack in the air, but it's a brave play by young Nielsen. He's played very well. He's seen off Vender, who's a very, very tricky player. He forced him away, he forced him into areas where he didn't want to go, and he got the frustration coming out of Vender, and now since Casillas has come on as well, he's played him very well.
Paulo Sergio with a very bad crossfield ball, allowing Hearts possession once again. quite right, Fraser. It's so unusual for a Scottish team to be in such a commanding position so late in the game, and the final whistle goes. It's a major triumph for Hearts. It's been an outstanding performance. These supporters have enjoyed it in the full, and well they might, but it's a triumph also, I would suggest, for Craig Levein, his organisation and his tactics, Fraser.
Yeah, it's a terrific night for Hearts Football Club. You really have never seen a Scottish team come away and be so comfortable as well. And I think to win in Easy Street was totally unexpected. I'm sure we all expected and hoped that Hearts would win, but perhaps not as comfortable as they have done, especially when they lost the early goal here.
Well, this was the one which put hearts in mouths for the travelling supporters from Scotland, and it was Thomas who took advantage of that, but Paulo Jorge with that howler allowed Mark de Vries to nip in very smartly to beat Paulo Santos in goal. And then here was Mark de Vries, the shot deflected, I think Paulo Jorge again, and that's what made things so easy in the second half for Hearts, because then they had the extra away goal. It meant that this goal towards the end was no more than a consolation from Jaime Jr. Hearts have gone through, they've gone through with a degree of comfort, and they really can be delighted with themselves. It's a great performance. Hearts stay in Europe. We'll look forward to these group matches. The final score for the Municipal Stadium in Braga: Braga 2, Hearts 2.
Jock Brown and Fraser Wishart with the commentary. What a magnificent night for Hearts. A fantastic achievement there, and they will now look forward to the draw for those group stages of the Uefa Cup. A guaranteed 4 games minimum to come for Hearts, 2 home and 2 away. I wonder who await them in the next round of the competition, but they won't really be caring too much about that at the moment, Craig. They're through.
No, do you think Craig Levein was right to play Mark de Vries today?
Not a bad decision, was it?
I mean, he's going to take the headlines. And rightly so for his 2 goals. Opportunist, the first one. Second one was very positive. It was a good drive early in the second half, just what Hearts needed. But all round, it was a solid performance. Like, the back 4 played very well. Young Nielsen, who made a bit of a mistake for the first goal, but didn't let it affect him. He came on to a very, very good game. Tucked in very well at times to help his centre-halves out, as well as getting forward. And the midfield worked very hard as well, with de Vries up front in his own. The Lone Ranger up there did the job perfectly. I mean, I think it was a very, very good European performance. Craig Levein couldn't ask for any more from his side. Yeah, Craig's spoken recently about the development of players like Patrick Kisnorbo, who seems to get better with every game. Paul Hartley, who's emerged in the last month or so as a top-class player. And Robbie Nielsen as well. He was man of the match in Bordeaux last season for Hearts in European competition. And again there today, had it not been for de Vries, he might have got the nod as well. He arguably was one of the better players again. All the lads for Hearts did very well. I don't think there was any weak link. McAllister wide on the left and Stamp on the right side worked their socks off, got back to help the full-backs. McFarlane came in and did a good job, kept it simple. Had 1 or 2 bad passes in the first half, put it down to a little bit of nerves, but worked hard, because Norbo's got good legs always. And Hartley's a clever player. He's a clever player, does some silly things at times, as we'll see later on, but never mind, he's one of Hearts' form player at the moment. And as I say, to come away from home in Europe and score 2 goals, to add to the 3 goals he scored at Murrayfield, was a fantastic performance. We've spoken about how Robbie Nielsen recovered from his early mistake. It was a test of character for Hearts as a whole, going 1 goal down after just 12 minutes. Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit too easy to get the cross in here, and nobody really gets a header on it. Gordon thinks Nielsen's going to deal with it, and he doesn't, and this is early on in the game, and just the start that Hearts didn't want. You can see the delight in the Braga players, and you can see the disgust in Craig Gordon's face in the goal, because he'll be thinking clean sheet and let's keep it tight. Early on, you don't want to give a goal away, and they did. It's a good finish, but Robbie Nielsen should have dealt with it. But as I say, the lad never let it affect him. He went on to have a very, very good game. He's a strong player. He's getting better. He'll learn from that. But it wasn't the start Hearts wanted, but nevertheless, it didn't affect them to go on and win the game, thankfully. And as I say, both goals were mistakes, really, from Hearts' point of view. But it was a difficult phase of the game, wasn't it? Because Hearts were playing in the wrong area of the pitch. They weren't making anything of set pieces. They weren't getting enough support through to Mark de Vries. Yeah, the one up front at that point in the game, Rob, wasn't working in terms of not being able to get up and support, playing in just outside their own box, not clearing balls properly. You know, sitting back too deep, and you're thinking, you know, I can't see Hearts getting into this game because they were just ploughing long balls up to de Vries. But they came on to a better game. After the goal, they lost the goal. I think Craig Levein's, been shouting some instructions saying, listen guys, let's get 10, 15 yards, 20 yards further up this pitch. Let's play in their half. You know, let's have a bit of confidence when we play. And they did that, and for periods in the first half, they played some good stuff, Hearts.
The Hearts fans certainly like Paulo Jorge after his howler let in Mark de Vries to make it 1-1. It was 1-1 at half-time, and well, this was almost inexplicable from the Braga defender.
It's great from a Hearts point of view, but you know, watch de Vries gambles here, but he should be really putting his forehead through that and getting back to the goalkeeper. He reads it well, de Vries. The goalkeeper's looking to blame the defender. The defender was at fault, but the goalkeeper doesn't cover himself in glory here, and de Vries, opportunist goal, gets in there. A lot of problems with injuries, but showed enough sharpness there. And it's still difficult once he gets there, gets his left foot on it, knocks it by the goalkeeper. Just what the doctor ordered for Hearts, because I said they were playing some decent stuff at this point in the game. They were starting to, you know, show the ascendancy in terms of getting a grip of it. Instead of sitting in the back, the edge of their own box, they started going forward a bit better, and they started to get opportunities, and that's just what they needed.
It was a remarkable performance from de Vries when you consider how little football he's had. He was holding the ball in up front, he was getting back into his own box to make vital defensive headers, and here he was 2 minutes into the second half getting the goal from which there was no way back for Braga.
Well, I mean, this just, you know, gave the game to Hearts really, and what a vital time to get it just after half-time. I mean, he's positive here. The ball drops to him. I must admit, I didn't really fancy him on his left foot there. It's not his strongest, and he was stretching for it, but takes a deflection, I think, off Jorge. Goalkeeper's left stranded, and this takes Hearts 2-1 up. And you know, what a start to the second half. Craig Levein will be delighted with that, and I think we've seen by the reaction for the next 20 minutes really of the Braga players, it really knocked the stuffing out of them, Rob. And
well, you start doing your sums at that point, don't you, and you realise that Braga need 4 more goals,
which is quite difficult for us doing the sums. But
yeah, well, exactly.
And no, they did. You could visibly see that in the Braga players, because you know, in the first half they'll try to intimidate the Hearts players in terms of getting them booked and throwing arms in their faces. As soon as de Vries puts that in for 2-1, the players realise how many goals they need, and all of a sudden how difficult it's going to be. And really, for the next 20 minutes or so, never really caused Hearts too many problems.
I'm reluctant to introduce a sour note as far as Hearts are concerned, but Paul Hartley will look back on this and feel that he was a lucky man. Yellow carded already, and why he wasn't yellow carded for that one I don't know, and that would have meant him walking and missing the next European tie.
He gets himself in a bit of trouble with his touch, Rob, and he's a silly boy doing that. He's lucky that the referee was so poor tonight that couldn't make a proper decision, or he's off and he misses games. They're obviously through to the next stage of the group. And that was he's got that in his game, Paul Hartley. He's a very talented player, but he's got that little nasty streak as well. But he's got to temper it. In a European night like that, you know, if Hearts hadn't had such a comfortable lead and he was sent off, that could have cost them.
Craig Gordon has had his highs and lows in the course of the game. He produced a string of good saves, and none better than this one from Paulo Sergio.
Yeah, I thought Sergio was one of their better players, although he was another one that was involved in trying to get Hearts players booked. But he was one of their more talented players. I wasn't greatly impressed with Braga, it has to be said, but that was a good save from Craig Gordon. It was a good strike. Most of the Braga attempts at goal in the second half were from outside the box, which is testament to how well that the back four defended.
Yeah, well, Robbie Nielsen had a good game, didn't he? And this was Nielsen knocking the ball off the line after Gordon was beaten. Well,
this was a wake-up call, because the goal comes just after this, but it's a good delivery into the box, and Robbie Nielsen either hits his shin or his knee, as we'll see. And he's luckily for Hearts, you know, that they kept it out. As I say, they were comfortable in the game. Gordon's beaten there. The defending wasn't great. I don't think it was over the line. And fortunately for Robbie, he just gets it cleared by hook and a crook. But that was the wake-up that was for to come next.
The second goal didn't matter an awful lot, the second Braga goal, but I guess for Craig Gordon, he'll not be happy about this. He was lost at sea, wasn't he?
Yeah, I mean, I like him in terms of he can command his area, but when the ball's whipped in with such pace, sometimes you've got to make a decision to either stay in your line or come and clean the area out. He does neither there, really. He gets himself in no man's land, and maybe a little bit lucky at the back post. I think it was Jaime who just sort of throws his body at it and squeezes the ball by Nielsen, but that's not one Craig Gordon I want to see. But apart from that, he had a terrific game tonight.
It's at this point we're trying to put the result into some sort of context, and when you think that's the Braga team who drew with Porto ahead of the first leg and drew with Benfica at the Stadium of Light at the weekend, I mean, that tells you something about the quality of the Hearts showing.
Well, 3-1 at home at Murrayfield, scored 2 goals away from home tonight. Hearts, you know, what a fantastic performance away from home in Europe. Scottish side through, you know, they've got the financial problems. This will help them. It'll boost the confidence of the players. We said before the game, they've got a decent squad of players, Hearts, and the 11 they put on the pitch, You know, they were good players. They played with one up front, which worked for them in the end. And I thought they looked comfortable. You know, as the lad said, it was the last 10 minutes. There was no way Braga were going to get back into the game. And Craig Levine will be absolutely delighted with that. And the Hearts supporters who we saw, they'll celebrate long into the night. Yeah,
and when you look at the bench as well, we made that point, that in addition to getting De Vries back in the side, McKenna and Pereira featured as well. Michael Stewart is there on the bench.
Wyness on the bench. They had a strong bench. I mean, I think they've got a good squad of players. What kind of teams they'll pull in the next section remains to be seen. It'll be tougher than Braga, but I think they've got a good chance of progressing.
OK, Craig, thanks for that. SPL Live from Setanta Sports on Sunday from 1 o'clock. Don't miss the live match. It's from Tannadice, Dundee United against Celtic, and in the course of the afternoon you'll see everything else from the Bank of Scotland Premier League played over the weekend. Hearts can brag about Braga. They've beaten the Portuguese side, and they'll find out on Tuesday who they face in the group stages of the Uefa Cup. Bye for now.
Want to break a world record? Well, now's your chance. The current world record for a walkathon is 77,500 people, and we